What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Happy Wednesday. It's a good Wednesday. I feel good today. I think we got a nice show ahead of us, a nice stream. I feel good, man. It's a good hump day. I feel energized. Maybe it's that starting 15 minutes early instead of 15 minutes late for once.
There you go. It feels like we're just here. We were
Uh,
about
we
12
were
hours ago, right?
we were here just last night because we're committing to streaming more, to hanging
Yes.
out with you guys more. We're not
Yes.
going to neglect our children any longer.
No.
What You are all our children. I am your daddy. Todd is your mommy.
Why do I have to
And
be the mommy? Can't I be the drunk uncle, dude? That's what I want to be.
I guess. Hey, what's up, everybody in the chat? How you doing, Ishmael? Let's see.
Hey,
Silhouette, what's
guys.
up? Scott Bakula should have played Bracula,
Yeah.
like Blackula, Bracula. He
Blackula.
did play. He did play Bracula in an
Yeah, in
episode,
that
right?
episode. Yeah.
There's an episode of Quantum Leap for all you nerds out there, where it was Transylvania vampire themed and all that good stuff. Ishmael, Jason is back and he's selling us some beer. It's so funny because Todd was like, "We got to talk about that." We'll get into it. We're gonna get into it in just a minute.
Uh,
But yeah, thanks, guys. Zakito, I'm glad you're digging the theme, man. I was joking that Scott Bakula wrote it just for us. I wish Scott Bakula would get on Cameo.
oh, man.
He would block me, dude, because I'd be getting a cameo every week. Like, yeah, could you take it down a little lower? Come on, can you show me some hamburger meat? Come on, just lift that shirt a little bit.
He's like, you don't have the Playgirl magazine yet, Aaron.
That's so funny. Yeah, like you're not a real fan. I'll show it to him. Like, hey, I got this, Scott. I've had it
Did
since I
you
was
get
a
it
kid.
signed at a con, dude? Just bring that up to him.
He's not going to do a con. He's a
Hey, he
little
might.
above that. I wish he would.
How old is he now? He's not in his 70s yet, is he?
I think he is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Scott Bakula's old, man. I'm gonna look it up right now. Actually,
He
Scott
still looks
Bakula's
great, though.
he's started to turn the corner. I watched him. Scott Bakula age.
His nose is getting a little bigger.
Let's see here. Scott X Bakula. He's 70.
Wow.
Yeah. He turned 71 in October. Yeah, I watched him. I think he was on the very, very last episode of Bob Saget's podcast before he passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, like literally the last episode he did, then Bob Saget died. And they're old friends. I don't see him doing a lot of podcasts or anything like that, but he went on Bob's and they were talking like they actually hang out and stuff. And I watched him like, oh man, Scott Bakula, he is mortal because he was starting to get that old man skinny.
Mm-hmm.
He was starting to get like a little old man skinny, had a little skinny neck.
Face, yeah.
And it was getting like that, when you get skinny as an old man, you get like that little little pussy, that neck pussy.
Like, yeah, gaggle thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a nicer way of saying it. I heard that. What does he say in that damn coffee commercial? And I'm waking up.
It's decaffeinated, and I'm waking up.
Yeah, that I would kill. Can you just say that, Scott? I'd get a cameo. Let's see. We're doing good, Silhouette. I'm feeling alive in 95 over here. Wife is still pregnant. That's kind of. I'm just letting it go. I'm putting.
I was waiting for the call saying, "Okay, you got to do the show solo tonight." So
yeah,
I that call.
I told him. I said, "Dude, if she happened to go in labor right now, he would have to take over for us." But I'm here. It's going down. He want that money. He'll do it. The old man's waddle is called a nunt. Ooh. Okay. All right. So anyway, we were going to talk about the Jason Universe stuff. And here in just a little bit, we're going to have Brandon Salisbury come on, the director of George A. Romero's Resident Evil documentary, which dropped a few months ago. But as of today, it's now streaming for free on YouTube on the Residents of Evil YouTube channel. And Brandon was telling me in some IMs that they had brokered a deal over there and he got the rights to put it out. So, and if you guys aren't familiar with Residents of Evil, it's a Resident Evil centric YouTube channel.
Huge.
You might have to be maybe a video gamer to really know of it, maybe, because he focuses on Resident Evil. It's just a total fan channel. But this guy, he's super passionate about it, man. He got the original gang back together, the original actors that were in that first game, and he kind of reunited all those guys. And he's been a part of some fan films over there. But the dude is super, super, super into it, and he puts a lot of work into his channel. So it's only fitting that he was able to get the rights to be able to show it. And JJ from that channel is actually a part of that documentary too.
Yep.
Silhouette, you got to be a true gamer. Not necessarily, man. I mean, I don't know if I'm a true gamer anymore. I'm a casual guy. This is all old shit, dude. Like you could still like the old school Resident Evil and not have played a game in the last 30 years, dude.
Oh,
Still.
absolutely.
But anyway, Todd, let's just kind of jump into this Jason business. So I
Yeah.
think it was about 2 months ago that they announced that they had gotten some of that nasty fucking legal shit ironed out, or the divorce was finalized or whatever, and they launched the Jason universe, which
Mhm.
is kind of a weird thing. It's just basically a branding, like, hey, this is our new moniker in which we're going to start pumping out all this Jason content now. I mean, they still can't call it Friday 13th, but through the Jason universe, I think that's where we're getting Camp Crystal Lake. Like, they can call it Camp Crystal Lake, they can't call it Friday 13th. We're gonna get video games coming our way. We've got a new mask, which is kind of the big one I want to talk about,
We'll
and
talk about
there's
it. Yeah.
and then we've got the teaser trailer for Sweet Revenge. Um, I don't know what they worked out. I mean, I know
It
what was going on with the Victor Miller thing, and what agreement did they reach? Because I kind of thought that was always the issue, was they couldn't use the name. There was something else in the way, because this problem existed in the 90s when we had Jason Goes to
yeah.
Hell and Jason X. They weren't using the Friday the 13th name then either. So Todd, you might be a little bit more schooled here, but this has been going on so fucking long at this
I
point.
I think multiple people have different things. So the the Sweet Revenge people, I think it's Horror Inc. They have the rights to part of it, and their official sponsors, Angry Orchard, the beer
Oh.
alcohol, and then they're launching this Sweet Revenge vignette, I believe what it's called. It's
Is it
like a
gonna be is it gonna
12.
be is it gonna be a series? Yeah, a series of
No,
short
no, no,
shorts?
no. It's just one short. I think it's like
Oh,
14 minutes, and they're gonna air it on their YouTube channel, for the fans to watch. But they're pumping out some sort of like sweet cider, I don't know, themed Friday the 13th thing for October, and they came up with this idea or something. So they're trying
Ishmael,
to
do you
target millennials.
Do you think that Jason themed TV dinner would have like a burnt brownie in it? You know what's so funny is my mother lives at our house, and I smelt something I hadn't smelt since I was a little kid. I was like, that's banquet dinner fried chicken. I haven't
Yeah, yeah.
smelled that shit in 30 years, but I'll never forget it. And I literally sniffed it out like a dog, and I went downstairs. I'm like, and she was sure enough eating a banquet. Like, first of all, why?
It
But
tastes like rubber,
yeah, it's not
fried rubber, man.
Tiff, I'm all rubber. But yeah, I was like, dude, that brought back a wave of memories. They say like smells and stuff like that can do that.
Hmm.
It was wild.
There's a
Uh,
puddle of grease on the bottom of the plastic.
Microwaving fried chicken, dude. What a terrible idea. Yeah, kids cuisine. Absolutely. Remember that
Yeah.
fucking penguin? He owes me money.
Hmm.
Let's see here. What's up, Tom? Welcome to the chat. I
Hey,
saw some of
Tom.
the Ozzy funeral procession today. I
I saw a
it was
snippet of it.
It was 5 in the morning here when that was airing live, and I didn't wake up for it, but yeah, I just watched a couple clips here and there. I mean, I didn't have to sit there and watch like 3 hours waiting for a car to go by. And,
No.
the Osborne family showed up at the Black Sabbath bridge that everybody takes pictures at the bench and stuff, and because fans have set up a bit of a memorial there. So they showed up there, and I saw pictures of that, and I knew if they did, that would be on the news the next day, so uh, but it was real sad, like you expect, dude. It's like Sharon looks all broken up, and Jack's crying, and Kelly's crying, and Amy's crying, and yeah, I think it's actually really cool that they've done it the way they did. They let fans be a part of the funeral procession as far as streaming that. Obviously, the actual service is going to be private. I think that's great. I mean, if I would never accuse it of being like a media thing for clout. Ozzy loved his fans. I'm sure Ozzy would have loved it. Like, hey, yeah, let them take part in however they want to take part. And obviously, they meant a great deal to him. And so I thought it was done pretty tastefully.
So,
But
back to the Sweet Revenge real quick. Um, the interactive experience. The film will debut not just on YouTube, but also custom Angry Orchard microsite where the fans can A, watch the short film, B, explore behind the scenes content, and C, interactive Jason themed promotion, possibly a sweepstakes. Wow.
What
So
is this
yeah.
fucking like 1990s Universal Studios? This is okay. So is Horror Inc. behind the entire Jason universe? Is it
I don't
all the
know. I don't know how much rights they own.
because
Um,
Paramount
uh,
clearly owns Camp Crystal Lake, the
yeah,
Peacock show, so that's separate,
I'll
right?
have to
This
look
is
it up.
it's
Yeah,
getting, but then again, the Jason because I guess there's a new film too, right? Obviously coming. They're not going to stop here. They're going to make a film. But is this new Jason mask that we're going to look at here in a second? Is that part of the short?
Horror Inc. owns the majority of the rights for the Jason Voorhees character in the
Hmm.
Friday the 13th franchise, but with a few important caveats due to lengthy legal battle. They have a breakdown of it. Of course, they don't own the name of the camp. Concept of Pamela Voorhees is the killer. They don't own that.
Okay, so
Child Jason Voorhees. They don't own that. So
so
there's certain things in the
when they show it in the teaser with Jason Voorhees grabbing her out of the water, they cleverly don't show him.
yeah.
Is it just a matter of just not showing the face, or they can have the concept? Here, let's look at the mask. So, can you guys see this? Is this mask? Is this just in the short? I'm confused.
I'm seeing like 3 different masks online. I mean, they all look terrible, by the way. But I hope that's. I mean, we'll see in the trailer, but
But
that
no, but
doesn't look like the mask in the trailer.
yeah, that's why I'm confused because this is the Comic-Con mask. I thought they shared the trailer at Comic-Con. And this is the damn mask that is on the promotional stuff like Jason Universe. And they have that mask there and they have Jason's new look and he's wearing some sick ass cargo pants or something. But yeah, where is this showing up? Because I still think it's gonna cause a lot of brand confusion. I was confused. So obviously Camp Crystal Lake, the Peacock show, has nothing to do with this shit. And
No.
is it like a divorce? Can they not show Jason then?
Okay, so here's what Horror Inc. So Sean S. Cunningham, he owns Horror Inc. or he controls Horror Inc.
Okay.
Their elements that they control is the adult Jason Voorhees, Friday 13th franchise name, Jason's look, mask, machete, sequels, parts 2 through X, Freddy vs. Jason, 2009 reboot, merchandising, licensing, toys, games. So they own a lot of it, but there's just a few things that they don't have the rights to.
So Paramount, though, again, Camp Crystal Lake, does that fall into that 20%? That
yes. So they don't own that.
So what can they not share in the Camp Crystal Lake show? So if
adult Jason Voorhees, probably the Friday 13th name, Jason's look with the mask.
So it's going to be none of that. It's literally just going to be ground. Okay. I mean, that's what I kind of figured. It's so confusing, man. I still think it's a clusterfuck. I mean, I guess the high tide's going to raise all the ships because I think the normies aren't going to know any better. And Camp Crystal Lake being successful is probably just going to help promote any new Jason projects. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of tied in. Because she could still use the name Jason, and they're going to use Kid Jason, right? It'll still be connected.
So this is pretty much going to revolve around Pamela Voorhees, which is interesting because I want to know the backstory with Pamela Voorhees and young Jason. I think that'd be interesting. So I'm looking forward to
that. So what do you guys think of this mask, though? It's trash, right? It just looks like it jumped out of a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. It looks too cartoony.
Looks like something you get at like the Dollar Tree or something like that, or the Five and Below store, that sort of thing.
Not that many of the Jason masks you could actually see a hockey player actually wearing on the ice, because that's not this one. I can't imagine a goalie wearing. This looks like a Halloween costume.
Well, and the eyes are different. The eye holes, I think, look different, and there's some differences. I mean, the one she's holding up is not the one I saw online, so there's like a bunch of different ones floating around online.
Well, then I'm fucking confused. Then why are they showing this one at Comic-Con?
I don't know.
This looks like the one in the promo shot, though, Todd. The one that's in our thumbnail, the promo shot with that. This looks like the Jason mask to me. Which ones are you seeing? Why don't you share it?
I was seeing one that was at like
pull it up,
Spirit Halloween type of thing. Okay, let me look.
Well, they're putting this mask out at Spirit. You're gonna be able to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks similar to that, but I mean,
well, it's a shitty knockoff. Like I think that's the real one. Yeah, go ahead and pull. Yeah, it looks too clean silhouette. It just this better not be the Kmart clearance version. Hey, what's up, Gory Tiger? How you doing, bro? Welcome to the
Okay,
chat.
so
Yeah, the eyes look too clean, dude. It looks like the Halloween H2O shitty mask where he's like looking at the, you know, the generic mask where he's looking at Lori through the, you know, the window or the door.
I'm gonna give Pizzal credit on this because he was sharing it on his Instagram. So yeah, this is the one that he posted. He must have got this one from Spirit Halloween.
But I feel like it's the same mask, just a knockoff
Yeah,
Spirit because it's got the same eyes, like the kind of like almost
yeah.
rounded rectangles. I mean,
I
this
don't
looks, dare
know.
I say, a little better than the
Yeah,
one
no,
there
it does. It does
because it's
look a
at
little
least all
better.
jacked up and worn and battle worn. I don't know, but I guess I'll have to see it in action. Yeah, this photo makes it look like it's really long. I don't know if
Yeah.
how it would look on the actual actor, but let's go ahead and actually watch the teaser. I'm gonna pull that up, and
Yeah, pull it up.
I don't recall what the mask actually looked like. I think you see Jason for a quick flash, but I'm gonna go ahead and share it. God dang, sorry guys. All right, let's go ahead and share that. And have you guys all watched this, by the way?
I've seen it.
All right, so
Have you seen it yet?
yeah, I watched it once.
Okay.
But let's go ahead. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This isn't a fresh reaction, but who gives a fuck? It's not like we're not 5 days later or whatever. Let's see here.
You hit theater mode.
It's on theater mode.
Okay, there we go.
It's been on theater mode. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this. I just had to get my fucking window straight. Hold on. All right. I miss having two monitors, guys. All right, so let's go ahead. It's only it's 47 seconds, so it really is a teaser.
You all settled in?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, look at this.
Got a beautiful spot here.
Crazy Larry character.
Yeah, and the actual camp and everything. I mean, it looks interesting. I mean, it doesn't look terrible.
No, it doesn't look terrible. It looks very modern. It looks very A24-ish, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even like the soundtrack going on in this trailer. I hear this shit all the time in these fucking like A24 trailers. It's a little stock, but it looks good. It looks passable. How hard could it be to capture the tone? It's just like you point a camera at a campsite, you know, it's going to look like Jason, but
These properties had a bit of a troubled past.
What kind of trouble?
Oh, you know, the usual stuff.
I don't have a problem with the actors because it's no different than in the 80s. It's like they hired young, attractive people. It's just how it always was.
And it's a 12-minute short, so or 13.
Yeah, and these films are always centered around sex, sex, and
which I don't know how much of that we'll be getting.
Yeah, not on YouTube, not a 12-minute short. And here's where we get baby Jason here, and they're gonna like dodge. We're not actually gonna see his face.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the workaround because, you know, nobody can own the rights of somebody coming out of the water. That's not really. Yeah, we don't see anything.
No.
I want to see if I can get a shot of Jason. So we got a little bit. I want to see if we can get him with his machete there. I was trying to see if like I could tell from this cut off shot if he had stature about him, if he was a smaller Jason or a bigger one. I guess it's kind of hard to tell. He doesn't look too big because she's just like a little short girl. I don't know. Look at that mask. Isn't that all we see of it though? That looks like it could be the mask. It looks dirty, at least in this. Though.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely the mask, but
I want to see it dead on.
You kids have fun.
Oh, that's the good shot. Let's go back to that. I have to see that.
Yeah, it froze up for a second. It looked like.
No, it didn't. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
I got to go back again. I want to get it perfect. Sorry. It doesn't look bad there at all.
No. It looks
and I
cool
can tell. I can tell it's got sort of those rounded eyes, right? Like rounded rectangle eyes. So maybe it's not going to look too bad. Whatever the hell they showed at Comic-Con didn't do it
God.
justice, because
Yeah.
this looks totally okay. Jason's completely bald, the classic look. He doesn't look like too big of a dude. You can kind of see where his lats are and how big his body is. He doesn't look like he's too big. I mean, I'm down, man. We haven't gotten anything with Jason, so
It'll be a cool little short.
yeah. Anyway, let's see. The new mask is awful, says Jeff. Down is up. What's up, Jeff? Welcome to the chat, brother. He says, I would much rather they go back to the sackhead Jason. Oh yeah, dude, me too.
Oh, I love the sackhead Jason.
Unfortunately, though, they're trying to make some money, and
Yeah.
that's not the mainstream Jason, man. They got to have that signature hockey mask. But we love the sack Jason around here. That is the best Jason. We love redneck inbred Jason. It's the greatest. But as far as keeping the traditional look, seeing that trailer calms some of my nerves about it, because, dude, the materials they've been putting out, it didn't do that justice. So whatever. But we didn't get to see a lot either. We'll see it in action. When does that actually drop, Todd?
I think the week of the second week in August, I believe.
Interesting.
So we'll have to do something when that comes out.
Silhouette says, I've seen that lead actress before. She kind of looks like the chick from, what's it called? Demi Moore's an old bitch. Come on, what's the movie called?
Striptease?
No, an older bitch.
Oh, you're talking about
the
Substance.
new movie, Substance.
Yeah.
I like how she was old and busted and striptease to you, dude. I never found her that attractive. So when striptease came out, I'm like, even as an adolescent, like, not interested. In a Violent Nature 2. I didn't see In a Violent. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Quali is her name, Ishmael. I didn't see In a Violent Nature. Did Todd saw that, right?
I saw it in theater. I enjoyed it, but for a one-time watch.
I heard it was weird. What was so weird about it? Was it just the way it was shot? Was it the way it was?
You're just tracking with the killer the whole movie. It's just the killer's perspective of a third person, like Resident Evil game, where he just walks around, he walks through the woods, and then the deaths, the gore's cool. Is a unique, interesting film, like slasher, but it's not something I can go back to, quite often, because really didn't have any substance, no pun intended, to it, other than the cool gore. But I don't know. What do y'all think about In Violent Nature? Y'all like it? It's a one-time watch at least, so I'd recommend checking it out.
Yeah, I'll get around to watching it too. I still have to see the Bring Her Back or whatever.
Yes, I've been waiting for that to drop, because I think you can rent that, but it was still like $20. I'm like, I'm not renting it for that. So
Todd, I gotta send you a DM. You have to read that.
Okay.
And just keep it to yourself. Let's see. I've seen that movie before. It's called The Butcher. Yeah, I'm sure it's been done before. It's a serial killer with a GoPro camera on his head. Yeah, anyway. What else are we? I still think we have a few minutes before Brandon's going to come on here, but hopefully, how many here have actually watched the documentary, the George A. Romero's Resident Evil? Has anybody seen it? I've watched it a couple of times. I watched it when it first came out. I actually purchased it and supported it.
Yeah, I did too.
Kim Jin-won directed The Butcher, 2007. Oh, okay. So it's a Korean film. I'm just assuming. I love Korean films, dude. You know what? You know what they're putting out? I don't know if it's Arrow, but I saw they're putting out 3 Extremes.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
that's a good film, dude.
It's a great anthology film. And it doesn't really get talked about in the, when people are talking about anthology films, but it's really good. And it's special because it was the 3 biggies of Asia uniting. We have a Chinese filmmaker, a Japanese filmmaker, and a Korean filmmaker. And it's got abbreviated versions of films that are out there in a full capacity. Like there's Cuts, there's Dumplings, and there's A Tale of Two Sisters. I'm pretty sure those are the 3 that are a part of 3 Extremes. And I've seen A Tale of Two Sisters, the full one. I've seen
Dumplings is really good too. Yeah.
I think I've seen all the full versions of them, but they're It's really good. I'm definitely going to pick it up. And honestly, I would buy any of those films a la carte too, the full ones.
They're
And
great.
it's got Bai Ling in it, dude, and
Oh yeah,
dumplings.
good old Bai Ling.
Another interview we lost.
Yeah,
I always think about it. I always wish I could go back and like watch those interviews that we lost. I'm like, they're probably not good. I probably did terrible. Bai Ling, I don't know.
the
I feel
Ernie
like
Hudson one. Did we lose that one?
no, that thank God we got the Ernie
Is that up there on our YouTube?
there for years.
Oh,
Guys, this is so funny. I interviewed Ernie Hudson like a decade ago. This was before female Ghostbusters even came out. There was no Ghostbusters action, and it's hilarious because he leaves me hanging at the beginning of the video. He doesn't realize it.
oh, you got your hand
Like,
out.
I'm
dude?
like
Shake
I'm
his
like
hand.
introducing him in front of the camera, and I have my hand out, and he doesn't even see it. And I'm like, and I try to play it off cool, and I at first it like embarrassed me. And there's a few people in the comments that caught on to it, like LOL, left homeboy, left honky hand hanging. But he didn't mean to. He was a really nice guy, but
He was super nice. I loved Ernie Hudson.
but it's so fucking funny. It's so funny because I try and play it cool, like, oh, like, you know. Anyway, it's a cool interview though. Jeff, what's up? I've seen the documentary. It's actually very good. Yeah, man, we're excited to talk about it. And Kelly, what's up? Hey, horror fans, how you doing? I think it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been binge watching a YouTuber who talks about scary true stories. I hope it's not an AI YouTuber talking about scary true stories.
Yeah. It can't be as good as us. Come on, Kelly.
You know what? More than any other channel in this sect of YouTube is those storytelling channels, man, that they're just AI voiced and in fact, they're AI scripted too. Because a lot of these channels, I've talked about this, and I'm not saying that this one that you're watching is, but oh, they won't tell you AI storytellers are bad. I don't know if this one that she's talking about is, but dude, there is one channel. I went to go clear a name for a project I'm trying to do, and I found this guy who had a similar name, and I saw his channel. It's like 3 months old. He's got like 50,000 subscribers, and he pumps out he's proud of himself, new video every day, and he puts out these long form scary story videos, and they're like an hour, and he's just vomiting out content, and the whole thing is fucking AI. Everything is AI, and the voices are getting more and more convincing. I'll give it that. But for this guy to be pumping out shit every day, even the scripts are AI. Like, they're not doing anything. And this guy has got 50,000 subs with a few months of not really doing any work. It's kind of gross. It's really too bad.
YouTube's going to do something about that, I would think.
Well, they just kind of rolled out new terms that are going to go after people that aren't doing enough of the content themselves. There are some people in the communities that were freaking out, like, oh no, what does constitute not original enough? Are they going to start taking down videos where we're like watching a Jason clip? I think I don't even think they're going to denounce all AI. It's just their bots are going to look at like, hey, did you use it as a tool, or did you have it do your whole damn video? Is this all your money coming from something
what
that's
percentage of AI was used? Yeah.
Mr. Ballin, dude. Mr. Ballin's it. Well, is that a real thing? Silhouette is Mr. Ballin. Oh, okay. Is Mr. Ballin legit? Because it's been a thing for a long time. So there are legit storyteller YouTube channels out there that are doing it, not AI, but you can tell AI easy, but gosh, there was a few of them I used to watch too. I do like some of those guys, but I have to say the whole rise of the AI channels taking those over has kind of soured it for me. And I haven't, dude, I found myself watching a YouTube documentary some months ago. And I was actually getting into it. And then it was like 30 minutes into it. I'm like, this shit's AI. I was like, fuck. And I was disappointed in not catching it earlier, but that's scary. And I couldn't, I had to X out of it. Like, I am not supporting it. I'm not supporting it. But yeah, anyway, no, I'll have to check out Mr. Ballin. It sounds pretty cool, man. Because anybody that's really putting in the work and really narrating and really script writing, that stuff's cool with me. So yeah, thanks for the shout out on that.
Sorry,
Kelly.
I was lagging there for a second.
Yeah, you were. I didn't even notice. He's interesting and a good storytelling with a personality. That's what it's all about, man. Let's see here. What else? Todd, what have you been watching lately? We still have a few minutes to kill before we get Brandon in here.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't do any of that creepy edgelord shit either. The creepy pasta stuff, dude. Does he talk? Does he
Uh,
talk with a sinister voice? And she was never found again.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's something I do listen to every night while I'm in bed. I always go back and listen to old Art Bell's podcast, his ghost story episodes.
Yeah,
So
he's been around forever.
these
He's
were
dead
from like
now.
the 90s. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
he died
dead.
about like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, the old ones are the 90s, and they're like 3-hour episodes, and he
Yeah.
goes through all the ghost stories. When I'm in bed, I listen to that. I fall asleep listening to him. I also fall asleep watching Unsolved Mysteries on Pluto TV. So they have the marathon on there. So I just turn it on my iPad and I lay there until I fall asleep, and then I wake up. Occasionally I start watching again, and then I go back to sleep. Or I just love the sound of Art Bell's voice. I love the sound of Unsolved Mysteries in the background while I'm sleeping. It just gives me nightmares, which I love. I love nightmares.
What does that say about us as a society?
I mean,
when we're
look at
numb to
me,
that stuff?
Robert Stack. I have his shrine here. So
I was thinking about this actually just the other day. If Robert Stack was still alive, do you think he'd be doing conventions?
oh god, dude, I'd love to meet Robert Stack, man.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody would just be what would he would just sign update on every 8x10.
I don't care, dude.
What else would he sign? What else would he say? What's
I'd
another,
love
like,
it, dude. He's. I can get my trench coat. We can both be standing there in our trench coats and nice ties, dude. That'd be
Oh yeah,
awesome.
well yeah, you would have Robert Stack cosplayers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I still think hopefully it's not over, but you know the new Unsolved Mystery series that's on Netflix isn't bad. The one
It's
that
pretty
they,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's obviously I think they went about it the right way. If they can't have Robert Stack, which is impossible, don't have a host at all.
Mhm.
Because there's something about like the Dennis Farina and stuff like that. I never
I
could
didn't like
watch it
those at all.
because I
No.
just it's just off-putting. It's like your mom bringing home a new father. Like this is
Yeah.
not my dad. And it probably made me shun some overall probably fair content that I'll never really give a fair chance. But something about the Netflix one, they actually did it right.
Another show that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That's not meant to be scary. Was Rescue 911 with William Shatner.
Yeah,
The intro song, do 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 do. Yeah, that used to scare the crap out of me, dude. When I heard that come on.
they used to come on the Family Channel before it
Yeah.
was ABC Family and before it was Fox Family. No, when it was Family Channel, Fox Family, then ABC Family. Then I think it like became PAX or something. I don't know. I don't know. Aaron is unintentionally slipping into the Stack voice. Hell yeah, dude.
Ooh.
I love it, dude. Robert Stack's the best part about that Beavis and Butthead movie, Do America.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love it. By the way, did you guys see? So South Park's back, and obviously South Park keeps jumping around. Like they had, was it HBO or Netflix that had the rights for a while? Now they're Paramount, which Paramount owns them. So I don't really understand because Paramount, I believe, owns Comedy Central. I thought, but they also paid South Park like $1.5 billion or something stupid to put the series on Paramount Plus exclusive. And then I didn't even realize it, but the new Beavis and Butthead show, I thought it was a Paramount Plus exclusive too, but now that's on Comedy Central, Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And season 3, if you saw, did you see that trailer I sent you for season 3?
I haven't watched it yet.
You didn't watch it? It
No.
starts off, they're at a Metallica concert.
Oh, no
And
shit.
it's the band. Yeah, it's like Beavis and Butthead, I guess, are rich or whatever. They're flying over a Metallica concert in their chopper, dude, and it's loaded with gold bars, dude. And they're like, "How much to buy Metallica?" And James is even saying, one gold bar on it, and they literally hit a gold bar in the face and knock him out. It's hilarious. And but I can't wait. I think that new Beavis and Butthead series is great. It's fantastic. And
You have King of the Hill coming out. I mean,
King of the Hill comes out,
Yeah.
I think next weekend, next Saturday, maybe next Friday.
Yeah.
But I think it's the first week of August. I can't wait for that. It was a little weird seeing the new Flash style animation they're using.
I think it looks pretty good.
I think it looks like shit, but
I think it looks fine.
It's the same thing they're doing with Beavis and Butthead. It's the exact same animation, and I got used to it on Beavis and Butthead, so it'll be fine. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I love King of the Hill. King of the Hill is my shit. I got my wife into King of the Hill.
Nice.
Yeah, she really likes it, and she quotes it. I got, dude. If next time you come over, she'll probably say it a lot. She always goes, "I tell you what," because Hank Hill always like, "I tell you what," and now she says, "I tell you what" a lot. I tell you what. Mike Judge is on a roll. Mike Judge is awesome, dude. I think he's in a way underrated. I think he's fantastic, and Yeah, hopefully. The only thing I don't like about these revivals is, yeah, the new King of the Hill's coming back, and the new season, it's 10 episodes.
Yeah,
It's
they don't last.
nobody wants to do, but everybody only wants to do 10 episode seasons now. And I miss the days of like 25 episodes per season and stuff, because I don't feel like I'm getting a full season. And I know I'm going to binge watch it all in a night. I mean, that's going to go by, and I'll be done with that fucking thing in, what would it be? You can get almost 3 episodes in an hour. I'm
Yeah.
going to be done watching the shit in 3.5 hours. And that's going to be a little depressing.
Well, Comedy Central needs to bring back Drawn Together, man, because that show is hysterical.
I never got into that, man. I know you like Drawn Together, and I think Silhouette, haven't you talked about Drawn Together a lot back in the day?
So
I think
funny.
I've heard you talk about Drawn Together. Let's see here. I'll tell you what. Let's see. Oh yeah. Once again, rest in peace to John Redcorn's actor. Yeah, all that stuff was sad, and that kind of got buried in the news after a couple of days. But yeah, all that stuff was weird, man. Because I think when they were first reporting on that, they didn't have all the details in order, and the way the headlines were painted, it made it seem almost like, first they said he got shot by a neighbor, and you're like, what the hell happened? Was it a dispute? Were they arguing? You have no context. Then it became kind of a hate crime thing because he was a gay guy. And but then more story came out that it wasn't like his boyfriend, or I don't know if they were married or not. Boy toy, is that politically correct? Because he was like with like a really young guy. But anyway, he came out after he died saying like it was a hate crime. These people did this, blah, blah, blah. They killed our dog. We came to our doorstep, and they had our dog's bones were there. They had set our dog on fire, and they set our house on fire. But then more stuff came to light that I guess John Redcorn had a addiction. Like I think he was into like methamphetamines. People in the area were reporting, no, this guy had a meth lab in his house. Him and his boyfriend never left his house. They blew up their own damn house, and he used to go around terrorizing people, in the neighborhood. Like, so you got two sides, and the story got hushed up really quick. And I'm willing, honestly, I think I'm inclined to kind of believe the stories that he had problems, because King of the Hill was distancing themselves as well. And there was that footage that was going around because they did South by Southwest to debut the trailer of this new King of the Hill series, and the panel was missing John Redcorn. He wasn't invited to the panel. And did you see that video where he storms it?
No, I didn't see that.
He starts yelling from the crowd. He comes up. He's like, and he starts making this big proclamation or whatever, talking about what they were doing to him in his neighborhood, and he was being harassed. It's because I'm a gay man and all this stuff. And they seem very embarrassed. Like, hey, this is the actor that plays John Redcorn. He's in the series, but you could tell that he was not invited for a reason, because he had problems, and he was erratic, and they handled the best they could. And you could tell Mike Judge was uncomfortable when he stormed. He said he went into like the butthead voice, like, oh, this is not cool. He did something, and he was clearly just uncomfortable trying to make a gag. And John Redcorn's like, it's not a laughing matter. And he started going back in his, oh shit. Anyway, Drawn Together was definitely early FAP. Oh, come on, dude. Were you jacking off? What was the Superman's name of that?
Captain Hero.
Captain.
And was there a Betty Boop?
The obese Betty Boop with the thunder thighs, dude.
Yeah.
Carlos, I don't know if I said hi or not, but welcome to the chat,
hey,
man.
Carlos.
I'm glad you were able to. Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
Yes.
Glad you were able to join us. I wonder if these reboots were more successful. We'd go back to the 23 episode seasons. I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's just because Netflix set this standard for 10 episodes. Now everybody does it. I don't know if it's hedging their bets because they're producing less. They're not putting as much money into the production to see how it goes, and people have just sort of accepted it. I don't know. I know there's plenty of shows. When the 10 episode arc became super popular, it was for like those binge watching dramas that Netflix was doing. And I thought they were great, because when they first came out, it's like, this is awesome. This is no filler, because this is what I thought Walking Dead should have did back in the day. Because Walking Dead Walking Dead, I think, didn't have that many episodes either, but Walking Dead had 5 good episodes and 5 just totally filler episodes that didn't move the plot. So when they were starting to trim down these seasons with these shows, I thought it was great. I'm like, great, we don't need all the bullshit. We don't need the side episode of Walter White chasing around a fly in his lab. We don't need this stuff. And but now they've just gone crazy with it when they're doing it with sitcoms. That's, come on, man. A sitcom is not an hour-long drama. You know, the Frasier series, which got canceled, RIP.
Oh, that was
When that
quick.
yeah, it had 2 seasons. They're trying to get it, they're trying to shop it around to see if somebody else will pick it up. But it was kind of hard watching that because they're still doing the thing. Nobody wants to do the, I think 10 episodes works when they give you all the episodes, like Netflix. But when they're going to nickel and dime you every week, like a Frasier reboot where you get 22 minutes every week and you only get 10 of them, I don't know. It just doesn't work as well to me. But yeah, I don't know. But I don't feel like King of the Hill ever had, sitcoms didn't have filler. Sitcoms worked
No.
because they were all stories of the week. You know, they weren't connected and they were quick. They're like 22 minutes without ads. Yeah, so those I wish we got a little bit more of. I mean, I'll meet him in the middle, dude. Give me 15. I don't need 25. But let's see here. I legit think the neighbor was in the wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know all the facts. I still don't know all the facts. I don't even know what happened as far as like what happened when he actually got killed. I don't know if, you know, John Redcorn had approached this guy. The other guy was clearly carrying. I don't even know if John Redcorn had a gun. I don't know anything. I just know it was a lot of mixed information out there at the time. Not John Redcorn's actor, but I feel like he probably did have a problem though. It's probably like they say, it's like the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. There's probably a little bit of column A, column B. But I like I said, I don't know, man. Carlos, the neighbors allegedly killed his and his partner's dogs. Yes, that's the info that was coming out first. But then there was more to it than that. I don't know. Yeah, that's the part I heard from the very beginning, because it started off as his neighbor killed him, some kind of altercation. Then his boyfriend, who survived everything, said that's what he was saying. They completely spun it as like a victim thing, and then other stuff was coming out. So I don't know if the truth is somewhere in the middle. All I know is the news stopped talking about it.
Mhm.
You know, has there been any arrests, or did the guy surely the guy got arrested? Surely the guy he had, and there's got to be stuff coming down the pike with that. Yeah, just evil shit they did to him. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'd be pissed too. Captain Hero, aka Proto Homelander. Carlos, I don't know if they'd have invited him either way. Maybe his character isn't as big in the reboot, so it wouldn't justify said invite. Well, my theory is if the series is only 10 episodes, yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of people that don't have big roles in it that aren't the Hills, because there's just not a lot. Yeah, because John Redcorn's not in every single episode, and he might only pop up for one episode because it's such a short run. So, you know, maybe I don't know if Buck Strickland's still alive. Who knows? I mean, they have to like reestablish all these characters. So that's what I'm worried about, is we have to reestablish the Hills. You know, it's because it is a reboot, it's essentially. I hope they don't waste too much time doing that, because we only got 10 episodes. Hey, we got Brandon here, so we're going to go and get started with that. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great, man. You look
Absolutely.
good. Everything's good.
Thank you.
So Brandon Salisbury, director of George A. Romero's Resident Evil. Yeah, man, it's been wanting to have you on for quite a bit. And I know we see you popping in our buddy Alpha Romero's channel too. He's a great dude. So we're happy that you were able to sit down with us. But yeah, man, how's it all going?
It's going really good. Just staying busy, making movies, making deals. So been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And we'll get into that. I want to know what you're working on, but just so if anybody's uninformed, I kind of want to just get to know you a little bit, and obviously ask sort of the easy questions at first about what made you attracted to a project like this. Like, first, start from the beginning. Riverman is I'm a George Romero fan. Riverman's a really big George Romero fan, and he is actually the reason why we became friends. He introduced him. He really opened up my whole world to that. He gave me the first copy of Dawn of the Dead that I ever had. And, you know, I had seen Night of the Living Dead. The first Dead film I ever saw was Night 90. So I knew the stuff, but he blew it way open with Dawn, and then I started really getting base pilled with it. But what's your history with it in Romero?
Okay, here we go.
It's gonna be
So
loaded.
yeah, oh yeah. I got lots of memory lane here. So we're going back into my childhood. So I got into horror films through my mother. My mother is a huge horror fan, and she always had this crate that was full of horror VHS tapes. My father, he didn't like horror films. He always lovingly referred to it as weird shit. He's like, I'm not into weird shit. You know, he was a John Wayne, Clint Eastwood kind of guy.
Gotcha.
So being able to watch horror films with my mother, like that allowed us to bond a lot more because she had someone to watch movies with. So I got to watch shit that I absolutely should not have been watching. So at like 5 years old, I'm watching like John Carpenter's The Fog.
Nice.
I saw Night of the Living Dead when I was 5, though she didn't realize it. I figured out how to use a VHS tape, and I really loved the copy that she had. The artwork, I always tell people it sort of like hypnotized me. Like I got absorbed by the cover art, and I ended up just putting it in, watching Night of the Living Dead. Scared the shit out of me. So I didn't watch anything George Romero related, at least with zombies. I would catch for some reason at like 4:30 in the fucking morning, they'd be like showing Creep Show on like some channel. So I kept catching like parts of Creep Show on like one of the premium channels at my grandparents' house. I get dropped off during the summertime at like 4:30 in the morning. And of course I watched John Carpenter's The Fog, and the field that my grandparents had, like there was always this blanket of fog rolling in at 4:30 in the morning. So I'd be like running into the house.
That's creepy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't watch anything George Romero related until I got into Resident Evil. So I got a PlayStation for Christmas, 97. And that's when the marketing campaign in the US started for Resident Evil 2. And of course, by then I had watched, Hellraiser, Alligator, the Freddy films, Jason. I watched like pretty much what you would expect someone who loves horror to watch. So for me, Resident Evil, watching this trailer, I'm like, damn, this is like everything I love about horror all wrapped in the one property. So I ended up playing that, and then they had the sticker on the case that said "Went Apart in the Movie." And then the rumors started that George Romero of Dawn of the Dead fame was going to direct. So I took it upon myself and said, well, I got to go back and watch this guy's films, I guess. So I went back and started watching a lot of Romero's back catalog. And it just so happened 1998 was the 20th anniversary of Dawn. So that was on like one of the premium channels. And then they were playing Night 90 on the same channel. There was like I was just talking about this in the Alpha Romero live stream, I think like a week or two ago, that I have a VHS tape still of those two films. And it was those two back to back that really kindled my love for Romero, because I knew of him from Night. But then to see Dawn of the Dead, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, because I already knew like Leon Kennedy wore the SWAT uniform. And then you're seeing Scott Reininger and Ken Foray doing, like, it was like, holy shit, this is like Resident Evil 2 is basically a George Romero film. So I really became a fan of his work. And then because I got access to the internet, you start reading interviews with the man. And like his approach, not only to filmmaking, but how he would treat his cast and crew. And it was like, man, this guy is really cool. And it was reading those interviews and watching videos of him and watching his works that he inspired me to make movies. And that's how I became this like huge George Romero fan.
So were you on the early days of Homepage of the Dead and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
So I
remember getting on there as well. Yeah.
I got on there, I want to say late 98, early 99, I want to say.
Okay.
Because I do remember like when they were first posting news of George Romero directing Resident Evil. And yeah, so I mean, so I was following along, and that was like one of the places to really get information from, like little tidbits.
Yep.
So yeah, I go all the way back to that.
That's awesome, man.
I remember being, I think it was freshman year, Riverman, when all that stuff was buzzing around. I think it's when the Paul W.S. Anderson film, he was attached, and that was coming out. I think my years might be a little fucked up. I mean, he's 40, I'm like almost 39, so it's somewhere around there. But I remember when the George Romero stuff was making the rounds, and Todd was always reading Fango and keeping up with that. I was sort of through him. He was directly reading that stuff. And I remember being hyped about that news. And then the Paul W.S. Anderson thing came out. And I think we still had an open mind because I was a Resident Evil fan. And we went and saw it and just being kind of shattered. I don't know how you felt about that movie when you saw it. Because I don't, obviously you don't really go too much of that into the documentary. I know we talk about George's vision versus what happened with Paul Anderson's, and it became more action centric, and he wanted to go in I want to dissociate myself from the games because people know how that ends. I'm like, do you even know how to like adapt, bro? Like, it's fine. Like, the fans still we want to see a Resident Evil movie.
Well, that was like the one interview even says, like, it's kind of weird that he was so concerned about the fans knowing like who lives and dies ahead of time. And it's like, bro, I know you didn't write Mortal Kombat, but you directed it. Like, people knew Liu Kang wasn't going to die in that film.
Yeah.
Johnny Cage, none of them were going to die. So it's like, there's ways about it. And yeah, like I was diehard Romero. Like, I was not kidding, truly devastated when he got fired. I was like, oh my God, this is like worst case scenario after watching his films. Like, this was the guy to do this. I remember when the script review came out on Ain't It Cool News, and I read that. I mean, I must have read that thing 30 times. Like,
yeah,
like I don't know why, but I just had to keep reading it. Because it's like, man, I feel like this is the only way that I'm ever going to get it. And then a year later, it actually leaked. And I told people before, I had a slow ass computer. It's like slowly printing out one page at a time. I would read each page 2 or 3 times, waiting for the next page, just absorbing that script. So for me, it was like, oh my God, this is Resident Evil, but at the same time, this feels so much like a George Romero film. And it was like this weird amalgamation of like everything that I loved about Resident Evil through Romero's eye. When it came to the movie, I was like, it was okay. Like, there was a lot of cool stuff about it. I liked more or less the first film, but I also was like, man, this feels like very, this really feels heavily inspired by like The Matrix and like those those
slow down shots. And I think there was a shot of Michelle Rodriguez like kicking a dog in slow motion, and it was
there's all this like weird stuff that and you can see it in like every movie, every entry that he did with Resident Evil. There's lots and lots of just ripping shit off that came before. I had some conversation like a week ago where they were talking about they hated the final chapter because Wesker gets killed by a door. He was like, yeah, like you find out like Alice is a clone of like the CEO of Umbrella, who's also Alice, and they like the White Queen can't do anything to him because he's an Umbrella employee. And then the CEO says, Wesker, you're fired. And then the White Queen's able to like kill him with a door. I'm like, just so you know, that is completely fucking ripped off from RoboCop, because that's literally how RoboCop is able to kill the villain in the first movie, is that he can't do anything to an OCP employee until the one guy's like, you're fired. And he's like, thank you. And he like shoots him to death.
Yeah.
But it's like the same idea. I'm like, Jesus Christ, can you like write something original? So I liked the film, but at the same time, I was like, this does not entirely feel like Resident Evil. And then as they kept going on, I just said, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
I actually never watched all of the films. Like even
I neither.
I think Resident Evil, the films, was the first time where I actually got the thought in my head where I said, you know, I don't have to watch these just because it has the title of something I love. Like I don't have to support this. And I just stopped and I said, nope, never watching another one. I never did. It you know, for me, it just doesn't capture what I love about the games.
Yeah, I think I'm obviously we might be in the minority because those movies were really successful. They made a bunch of them, but I really wonder how many of the people that were fans of the movies were also fans of the game, because it just alienated me. I went and saw it.
I had heard somewhere, it was an article or something where, you know, they kind of broke down some demographics that it wasn't Resident Evil fans that were going to see the films like in the latter half of the series. It was actually fans of Alice. So they had gone on long enough that that movie universe had built up its own fan base of just general horror audiences who wanted, you know, it's coming along the same lines, the same time frame as like Underworld and even like The Matrix, where, you know, there was a hunger for strong female action driven films. And, you know, good on them. I think had it been any other period of time, it may not have worked out, but it just seemed to be right time, right place. And, you know, that's why, like, even I think the final chapter ended up making like over $300 million, but it wasn't because of Resident Evil fans.
Yeah. It same thing happened with like the Silent Hill movie. The Silent Hill movie, Pyramid Head, people cosplay as Pyramid Head at every horror con I go to, and it's because of the movie.
Yeah,
it's not really because of Silent Hill 2 or whatever, but yeah, they get their own life.
And that's something where I usually point to and say, you know, the Silent Hill film, really terrible adaptation if you're looking for canon, but it captured the tone. And I pointed out before that you can thank that film for making Pyramid Head into an iconic horror villain.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's up there. I think it's up there almost as iconic as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, he's super creepy. I think, but you could there's a happy medium here, and I think they're doing it with these adaptations, man. So they obviously went way too far to the right with Welcome to Raccoon City. Now you look at the screenshots of that movie when it was coming out, it's like it looks like the game, all right, but now it just looks like bad cosplay or a porno parody. That's what it looked like, and I watched it, and I'm like, it's like A for effort. It's like, yeah, it feels like Resident Evil. And to be fair, the first video game especially was just as campy as this. Those actors looked like they were just wearing cosplay. The delivery was hammy. And I thought that was a really interesting fact, by the way, in the documentary about how the Japanese, they said the way they talked very staccato like was to keep it understandable and easy to digest by the Japanese audience. I had never known that before. I thought that was one of the coolest things I picked up, but I'm like, it totally makes sense. And now I go back and I watch those cut scenes. I'm like, holy shit, it was there the whole time. But
and I can actually confirm somewhat of that because I have an entire folder on a hard drive from when I was working on this where I actually have all the dialogue from the games, including lines that were cut from the game and alternate takes. And some of the alternate takes are completely different than the version. So it's really neat to listen to and be like, oh, okay, so that's this actor. Like getting to hear, because I became like really good with Pablo Kuntz, who voiced Albert Wesker. So it was interesting to actually see like his different alternate takes on it than what they ended up with.
Those old clips, they read like a night school English class for you know, immigrants. Chris, don't open that door. It's like very basic words, one syllable. No,
it's iconic. I love it.
Did she really have to be a Jill sandwich, or were those the two words they hadn't checked off the box yet? We need very basic. They have to know the sandwich. But yeah, so with Welcome to Raccoon City, though, for example, and I kind of feel like that new Mortal Kombat trailer and those Mortal Kombat movies they're putting out, it's similar. People are really happy when it actually looks like the game, but I'm like, I don't want to be that guy that just can't be pleased. But I think you could still be a cinematic adaptation. I think that 95, going back to Paul W.S. Anderson, Mortal Kombat, perfect, because it captured the source material great. It didn't. The third game was already out at that point. They could have went ham and threw in all these characters unnecessary to market it, but they didn't.
And that's what they did with the sequel.
Exactly. And that was total greed. Larry Kasanoff, whatever, he killed that. But the Mortal Kombat movie clearly differentiated itself from the games. The characters, they were all very obviously who they were supposed to be portraying, but they had different looks about them. Even down to like Raiden being Christopher Lambert and all that stuff. It felt like Mortal Kombat, but it felt like its own thing. And when you go too far, like this Carl Urban Mortal Kombat, I watched that trailer and I'm like, it's cool, but it literally looks like I'm playing the new games. Like these, I've seen this stuff. And Welcome to Raccoon City. I don't want Alice. I don't want them to completely change the narrative completely, but I don't want this either. I'm like, there's a happy medium somewhere.
So from what I understand with Welcome to Raccoon City, and we can really get into filmmaking business and why they make
I want to
a certain way.
Yeah.
So with Welcome to Raccoon City, that was originally meant to be a lot bigger scope. The screenplay was budgeted at $50 million from what I heard.
Wow.
So that was what they were going to get. Well, guess what? They had the pandemic. So
Okay.
I believe Constantine Film doesn't directly fund the movies. You know, a lot of filmmaking, it's about getting loans. It's about finding investors. You know, they sell off portions of the profits. Because of the pandemic, theaters are shut down. No one knows what the future was going to be. They only got half the money. Well, they're already locked into film because they have to make a film. They have to put a film into production every X amount of years. Otherwise, they lose it and they go back. And that was why we pointed out that Constantine has done this before with Fantastic Four. So there was there's a history of doing it.
Hellraiser. The biggest.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really liked the first 30 minutes of Welcome to Raccoon City. Now, as someone who had already been jaded by the Anderson films, that they weren't what I wanted, I kind of understood going in that the director really wanted to do a John Carpenter style 80s horror film. Knew it going in. I laughed when I saw the title cards, and it's the Albertus font that John Carpenter uses for a lot of films. So I was like, I'm laughing at that. I was like, man, you really wanted to be John Carpenter with this film. But I love the setup for it, even with the character changes, because I understood who all the characters were meant to be. You know, Claire's the conspiracy theorist. Chris is your American hero. Leon is the comedy relief. Got it. You know, I kind of understood why he made certain changes, even if I didn't agree with it. The problem was, after about the 30-minute mark, you really, really start to see the budget go downhill. And I always joke with people that just like the games where they have like a timer at the end of the game where it's self-destruct sequence, they should have done that, but it should have been like the budget for the movie. You're watching them spend money and hoping to God that they don't run out of money before the movie's over. So that's always been my joke, is like I started laughing because eventually, like, I watched it twice in theaters. I went and saw it, and then my buddies were like, "Hey man, you want to go see this new Resident Evil movie?" And I didn't want to lie to them, and like I was like, "Sure, let's go." So it was cool to go with some friends and watch it again. Because I was on the fence after the first time, and then the second time I was able to kind of absorb it and then chuckle to myself looking at like oh my god, that CG shot looks terrible. Like, oh my god, look at the costume detail there. But honestly, like Johannes Roberts, like I feel really bad for him. because he did seem to really be a Resident Evil fan. He wrote something where he kind of was up against the wall where he needed to do something different. And he did, and then it was like, oh well, I guess you're going to be the sacrificial lamb so we can keep the rights. Who fucking cares? Here's 25 million. Do what you can with it. You know, and I honestly think he was really hoping that would succeed, because I know he wanted to actually make stuff that kind of felt like the game. Now, I'm not saying that it's a great movie, but I don't think the creative choices aside, I don't think the quality of the material by the end of the day was honestly all him, because I think,
Of course not.
You got a casting director that's like casting whoever into the roles. You have so much money for your special effects. You might not get like practical effects like you wanted, because it's like, hey, that costs too much time. Everything's going to be like some third-party CG company that's just going to give you whatever. Because there are a few, like by the end, William Birkin, when he's like the big monsters form in the train, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? I was like, you really just kind of scraped the bottom of the barrel to get that out the door.
You see this shit in big budget movies too. If I can give you an example, I'm so over the comic book thing. It's oversaturated, right? It has been for years. The last one I saw was Black Panther, and I know that was a huge hit, but by the time they get to that final showdown between Michael B. Jordan and Wakanda Forever, I can't remember his name. It looks like you're watching a PS2 game. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this? They're in the subway fighting. It looks bad. But no, what you're talking about is something that I talk about a lot here. It's when you watch a movie that, even if you think it absolutely sucks, you have to understand that first of all, the people that made it, if it's really bad, like unobjectively, it has problems. I guarantee you the filmmakers know too. And it's not like anybody ever sets out to put their blood, sweat, and tears or money out of their own pocket to make a, fractured film, an imperfect film. They always have the best intentions. I have limited experience making my short films, so I know on a very small level that it's hard. That's really hard. It's not one person. It's the work of many people. Like you said, it's, the director of Welcome to Raccoon City, he probably had the best of intentions. He probably had a great script that was going to capture the tone of that first game. But then by the time you got this guy sticking his hand in there and you got this guy sticking his nose in there, it's a whole village. And
that was something that I heard, because one of the biggest complaints about that film was how they treated Leon Kennedy. And what I understood was from a person who had actually gotten hands on the script, and I got like all this information, and I just said, literally everything in that script fixes my issues with what ended up in the film. I was like, because I would sit there watching it saying, why didn't they do this? And then I found out it was in the original script. When it came to Leon, there was apparently either more dialogue or it was supposed to be different. There may have been a few additional scenes, but the idea with him was they wanted to show an evolution of the character where he starts out incompetent and he's sort of the comedy relief. And then as the movie goes on, he builds confidence so that by the climax, he is Resident Evil 4 Leon Kennedy, where he's able to like do all his action moves. He's like an action hero. And that was kind of what they did at the end when he has like the rocket launcher and he like kills the final monster, but it got lost in translation with a variety of factors. But they wanted to show this character arc for him because he's like the third main character in the film between Chris and Claire. Now you have Leon and get to see his arc. And that was unfortunately just one of those things that either they didn't film enough material, they didn't get it across right, or the editing. I don't know, but that's what I was told, was that the arc was different for him.
It's always a constant battle between the creative and the money. And, I always think about, there was this time that I was working on something that had funding set up, and it was so stupid. We presented what we had, and these are people that are just looking to fund and whatever. They're not really the correct. And they literally came. I'll never forget it. The note was, this needs more levitation. Like fucking levitation. Like it literally made no fucking sense. I mean, it was horror adjacent, but like we gotta have people flying around because it looks good in trailer and promo and all that shit. I'm like more I say it to my buddy all the time. The film Randall, you know him. It's like more levitation. We need more levitation. But it's just it becomes a political thing.
You know, I've been there. Like I think I went through like every possible thing imaginable with the documentary. And then, you know, I'm in the early stages of my next project, which is an adaptation. So I'm there. Like you're speaking my language.
Dude, I tell people all the time, like when you have a movie that's I think like a perfect film for me, it's always subjective. When you have a perfect movie like 1979's Alien, talk about lightning in a bottle where everybody came together, everything fell into the right place, everything down to the tagline in space, no one can hear you. So everything's perfect. Everybody was on their game, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a Ridley Scott fan. I think everybody. It's like it's not like he's flawless. Like he's made some bad movies, and all these other people. Dan O'Bannon's not flawless, but they all came together on that one, right? It's all about the collective whole. That's just it's so rare. But I want to know about as far as you and your filmmaking. Where does your history with filmmaking start? It didn't start with this, right? Were you doing it? Did this is your first project?
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Okay. Oh, so how when did you decide that you wanted to take on a project like this? And as a first-time filmmaker, was it one of those things that you were just kicking around like maybe I should do it for like, you know, like longer than you should have, or you just jumped right into it?
So I'm going to give you a very brief background about me. So we kind of ended right around let's say 98, 99 about my history there. So in 2000, I had like a whole movie marathon where I was just devouring horror films, and I ended up watching the combo that I had of Dawn of the Dead, Night 90, and it was like early morning, and that's when I decided I'm going to be a filmmaker. So it was like August 2000. I was like, gonna be a filmmaker, and I started devouring everything I could about filmmaking. Tried to get some stuff made in high school, but it's high school, nothing ever gets made. I went into the military. I went into the Marine Corps. When I came back from the Marine Corps, tried again, nothing. Went into the National Guard, did 6 years there, got out, then had a family, and I was like, I think I'm done now. I'm too old. I think I was like maybe 30. I was like, man, this is like a young man's game. I should have been making movies years ago. So I gave up, and then eventually decided to just do like a YouTube channel where I was like, I'll do some movie reviews, kind of talk about stuff that a lot of people don't talk about. So I'm out there like doing reviews on like Ryohei Kitamura's Versus. You know, it's like a yeah. So I'm like doing reviews like that where it's just the stuff that I love that I don't see a lot of people talk about. And I did a video on George Romero's Resident Evil. It's like it was like 25 minutes. I just talk about the script, my thoughts and impressions. I didn't like the video that much. It's poorly done. I'm still learning, and I was like, I want to redo this video because this is after George had passed. So it was like, I want to say 2019. So I think Resident Evil 2 Remake had just come out, and I did this video. And by the end of 2019, I was like, I really want to redo this video. Like, I feel like I can make it bigger. I can talk about more. I got in touch with Robbie McGregor, who used to run New Blood, which was a Resident Evil website. And he's also part of the Resident Evil podcast. So he had done an article like 10 years prior that was about the entire production history of Resident Evil for the first film. It went from when Constantine actually it started before that. It actually went through the history of video game films to set up why Capcom even wanted Resident Evil made. And then went through every single rumor imaginable surrounding the films, up to including the release of Paul Anderson's film. I'm like, well, right there is half the work already done. And I had helped him with getting some of the Alan McElroy information, because at the time it didn't exist. It disappeared from the internet. I had to go through like a backdoor of some websites. I tried every search term, like I dug up something from literally 1998, and this was 2010 or something. So we already had like a really good friendship going with that. And I just asked him, like, hey man, I don't want to just take all your information. Do you want to like actually like write this with me? We can do basically a documentary version of what your article covered, but focus almost primarily on George Romero's version. So he agreed. And then we just started doing more and more research. We started finding more shit. Then March 2020 rolls around, and the George A. Romero Foundation announces they're going to open an archive. And it was like the scripts are in there, all the drafts. So it was like perfect. So I'm in touch with the archive, like, hey, when do you open? Like 5 days later, the fucking pandemic happens.
Yeah.
And then I just keep like, I pestered Ben Rubin for like 18 months trying to get in there. I just be like, hey man, is you opening up yet? He's like, no, not yet.
Is that in Pittsburgh then? The archive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's at the Hillman Library at the University of Pittsburgh. So
awesome.
it is open to the public, but you have to actually contact the museum, get permission, and schedule a time and everything. And then you can like literally go in. You can't look at all the materials. You have to literally tell them exactly what you want. You sit in like a room at a table, and they bring in what you need to look at.
That's awesome.
It's really cool, man. Being able to look at the I finally got in there the second day it opened. The second day that it opened. And they cart out all his like materials. And I got to look at the storyboards for the Resident Evil 2 commercial. I got to look at stuff that was all related to the commercial. I got to read the treatment, 3 drafts of the screenplay, and a draft of the Alan McElroy script, which was before Romero. So Constantine Film must have gave him a draft and said, here's what the last guy did. So I'm getting to look at George Romero's actual, not copies, his original scripts. Wow. They have his handwritten notes on it.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I was like ready to actually cry, being able to like touch like his you know, it was a really, really cool, beautiful moment, being able to look at the different drafts and kind of compare notes and stuff. So we realized that there was enough information that we could probably build a feature-length documentary. Maybe not one that would have like jam-packed to the brim of, you know, like secret footage and crazy shit like that, but we knew like we could take what had been done before, which Robbie had pointed out, like a lot of the information over the years that people were picking up on that wasn't from just reading the script or like the Ain't It Cool News like review, like a lot of the information originally like stemmed from his research that he had done, because he had actually found like parts where it was like cut and paste that he's like, what the hell? So we knew like other people out there were already taking some of the information, but we knew that we could probably interview some people and kind of make something that was going to feel emotionally charged and hopefully get people to at least understand like why George did what he did with his version of it, understood who he was as a person, and kind of explain like just how much impact George had on the video game. So it just slowly went from there, and it was originally not meant to be my first project. I was like, oh, this will just be like a YouTube video, and then it just kept growing.
How did the lockdowns help or hinder this process in making this? Because I mean, it sounds like you guys did a lot of it yourself. I mean, you had a lot of time for R&D. That's great. But was it easier or harder getting people to contribute?
Well, we really couldn't do anything. It was a lot of communications like this, just to like sort of like make connections. I guess you could say like all we did was do research and get in touch with people and slowly start to see if we could get interviews at least lined up and try and work deals, find funding, things like that. But we literally could do no work. We didn't start filming until February 2023.
Oh,
we started work on this at the end of 2019.
wow.
So that shows you.
Yeah.
So we spent all of 2020 and all of 2021 doing research, and we started to put together like an outline, and it turned into a full-fledged screenplay where we got all the information in a row. Like, here's how the information's going to flow, without any idea on what interviews we were going to get. 2022 rolled around, and then that was a lot of like false starts with like people promising funding, and then it would fall through, and then we'd try and lock a location to film at, because by 2022 I realized I kind of want to make it feel like a live action version of the video game. And that's when I got the idea, like, oh, we should go film it at like an old creepy mansion, and then we should have physical documents, and then we could make it look like the video game where like the text pops up. I was like, I don't know how it's going to look, but that was my idea, and we started running with it. So it just took forever, and then eventually I just got pissed off, got my own money. I did find a couple investors, but like half the documentary was just my own money. I was like, fuck it, let's just go start filming.
That's how you got to do it, man. I mean,
yeah, it was just, I just got tired, because it's like, how many meetings can we have before it's just,
it's good.
Like,
The wheels are going to keep spinning unless you do it. You do take it into your own hands, and it's hard to convince people. It's hard to convince people to help fund something that is going to have a certain kind of reward merited, and it's not necessarily monetarily always. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because one of the last interviews that we did for the documentary was Christian Stavrakis. And he was like, yeah, George was the kind of guy that would just grab 2 or 3 people and say, let's go film this. And I'm laughing. It's like, that's literally what I just did without even knowing it. I just grabbed the cinematographer and said, hey, you want to go out in the woods and just start shooting some shit? And that's what we did. So some of the footage at the very beginning is just the first shit that we shot. Like, I was like, get a
And that was you reenacting the Resident Evil.
That turned out great.
Yeah, the first game. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, like the drone footage right at the very beginning. Like, yeah, that was all day one stuff. I was like, get a drone in the air with the sun setting over the mountain.
You should have had a cameo of you saying, "No, don't go."
You know, we never.
Then you had
did
the
that.
Evil Dead throwback where it kind of follows you through the woods.
I feel really bad for the cinematographer, because he shot that thing in a full run. Okay. And I was like, it's late at night. He's tired. So I'm picking on him, but you know, it's his brain of just trying to get the shot. And I was like, Tom, how tall do you think a dog is? And I literally forced him to squat down. So he's like duck walking, or I should say like duck running. And he had to like leap over that fucking log. I felt, and he had to do that while keeping like the camera steady with the steady cam, and not like eat tree branch. And so, but it was like a constantly like just going out there like George Romero or Sam Raimi and just doing these kind of shots where you really feel, I don't want to say innovative, but you kind of like recapture that same indie spirit that they had, where it's like, we're going to do whatever it takes to get our shots, get our movie done.
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, that's the most fun. Stuff like that just, I don't know, makes me appreciate it even more.
The set, being on set is literally the only time that I'm happy in the filmmaking process, because I hate movies, or I hate meetings. I that'll be a quote. I hate movies. No, I hate meetings. I hate the back and forth process.
Sure.
I
It's
hate
terrible.
Negotiations. I hate editing. I hate writing. It's like, but being on, and then I hate the lack of money. But I get on set where it's like, okay, this is what we have. Let's just go film. That's when I'm at my most happiest within the process, because it doesn't matter if everything's falling apart. Like, we'll figure something out. All that matters is what we have physically on set right now.
Yeah.
And we just go out and make it. And that's, I love that level of creativity where even if shit's falling apart, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I like all the stuff that involves actually being creative, because my favorite part's the writing. If I could just lock myself, if I could make money just writing, I'd probably be tempted to do it. Filming is amazing, and I do music as well, so I love that.
Yeah.
But everything in between, dude, I don't know, it really tests you on whether you're cut out for anything, because it beats into a submission sometimes, communicating with other people, money, it's terrible, man. But it's those things that make it worth it. When you get it, for me, it's like when I get to the music process, it's like, whew, all right, I've been through the shit. It's edited, it's whatever.
There was a description that I heard the other day, and I was like, I literally want to live up to this, because you really have to be. It was what's his name? William Freudkin. The Exorcist. They described him as director and certifiably insane person.
Yeah.
And I was like, I literally want that to be my tagline for how people describe me, because I'm like, you really have to be insane to take on any sort of film project, especially feature length,
and then want to do it again. Right? That's the weirdest part, is because you do it the first time and you've been baptized by fire. I don't know how you felt after finishing this, but like, it almost feels like it sounds cliche, but you've given birth, you're exhausted. Like, I don't want to be pregnant again. I don't want to do that again. Fuck that. You feel drained, but you give it a little time and you're like, all right, I'm ready for more punishment.
I was pretty proud of, like, I think the first 5 cuts of the movie that we did, and then we had to like keep editing, and then the lawyers got involved, and like we had to like keep changing shit. And then there was some stuff like I told people before, like, I'm proud of what we did. I'm not going to say that the documentary is a piece of shit, but like when you look at the concept, when you look at what I got, and then knowing like what we had to change with it, and I'm like, yeah, there's some stuff in there that I'm like, okay, I get it. There's some people that do not like certain sections of that documentary. I'm not a huge fan of the audio only interview that's in there. That is literally not what we had in there.
It's so
the lawyers.
I told Todd the same thing. I before we started recording, I pointed that, and I said, I guarantee you, like, that's not your intention, and that there was more to that. I was gonna ask you about it, but yeah, go on. That's awesome.
The sections were completely different.
Yep.
There was some legal stuff, and then it was an 11th hour edit, and we owed the documentary to a European distributor who were the first ones to buy it. So we had actually earned profit on film while we were filming.
But great.
But the deadline was coming up to deliver it, and then we got hit with this last big piece. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing's due in like, I don't know, 3 days or something. So I hurriedly I need an interview really badly. Just record it on your phone. I don't care. Here's the sections. Just start talking. And I got the material back, fixed up the audio, and then we put it in there, synced it up to all the footage and stuff that we had. And I was like, well, that's what we got. But there were people that watched the earlier cut prior to that, and they're like, dude, this is amazing. And then then they went and saw the final film, and they're like, what the hell happened here? There was so much cool shit that we had to cut. And some of it wasn't necessarily being like naive about the copyright. Our lawyers were apparently the same lawyers that South Park use.
Oh,
so yeah. So basically it was whatever they say, it's like God is speaking to you. You have to do. They will ensure that you will never be sued. So
that was pretty much a nightmare getting around the copyright and all that stuff. And
there were certain things, and they said, and they even said, like, listen, this isn't your fault. They're like, if you had made this even 5 years ago, most of the stuff that you put in here would have been cool. but
Mhm.
we're just so you believe us, we're going to tell you what court cases to look up, which changed fair use laws.
Mhm.
And they did. They would actually cite like this versus this, and here was the ruling on it. And they're like, yeah, this is why you have to change it. So we lost a lot of really cool stuff. We had like you pretty much saw everything in the documentary is physical. There is nothing there that we slapped in. All the photographs are physical photographs that we made that are on set. The TV, the real thing, artwork, props, nothing in there is like we didn't just like cut to a full frame image that's just cut and paste in Photoshop.
Yeah.
We did that for everything. And there was twice as much shit that we had made physically from like concept art from the video games and all this other stuff. And they're like, yeah, you got to take it out because it's not covered under this, or you know, you don't want people to think like this is part of it. We had to add certain things. One of the things that disappointed me was, and it really was just more of like an artistic choice, is they're like, yeah, you can't have the person who's being quoted only at the end, because it would like do like a full like quote, you know, and then at the end it would show you who would say it. They're like, no, you got to keep that on screen the whole time. And I'm like, but that's not what they do in the video game.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, so that's like one thing that kind of ruined the artistic take of the idea that you were flipping through pages in the video game. Like we had to keep the speaker and the source and all that shit. There were a few things that we had planned that didn't get filmed. There was like one of the first things that we tried to do, and it did actually get out there in like the very first articles, and then we ended up literally getting denied permission. But we were going to try and film several scenes from the screenplay just to like slot in for like the script section, where it'd be like, well, we could tell you, but we'd rather show you.
Unsolved mysteries reenactment.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah.
So we didn't get to do that, and I had my heart set on doing a few of those things. Like I was so insane. I'm like, I'm gonna go build a fucking hunter, just to like. I was like, I don't care if it's just a fucking head. Like we're gonna do some cool shit. And then it was like, nope, can't do it. Can't do this. Can't do that. And you know, I really did. Like at the end of the day, I was still pretty proud of it. Like it's really hard for me to truly appreciate it. And I forget the director's name. He did End of Days. I remember his audio commentary, and it was one of the first audio commentaries I ever listened to on a DVD. And he literally starts off saying like, this is the first time I've ever watched one of my own movies, because all I see when I watch my films are all the mistakes. And I was like, by the time that you've already edited a film like 20 or 40 times, and you just know everything that didn't work out, everything that's wrong. It's not that I hate my work. It's just that I'm so beat down by everything that could have been or what wasn't able to get past. So like, I always sound pretty depressed about it, but I'm always like really proud of it. And like, yeah, it was really cool when it finally got released.
Yeah, I mean, you should be really proud of it, man. I learned so much shit in that. So, and I really enjoyed it as well. Aaron, I will say though, the first, I want to say 48 hours absolutely sucked. because they released it in the beginning of the week, or like a Tuesday or something like that. And I chuckled to myself after the fact, and I'll tell you why. And it was like the only thing that I could do to keep my sanity. The first couple days was nothing but hatred. I saw so much hatred for this thing. You would have thought that I made the biggest piece of shit ever. And I'm not saying that it's like a 10 out of 10, but like I absolutely got trashed by some of the worst fucking people imaginable. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I've literally just wasted 5 years of my life just to have everyone hate this thing. And I do mean everyone. By the weekend, I'm waking up to like dozens of
messages, emails, and it was like every day. It would just be this like flood. Like I turned off all notifications on my phone because it was just like it was sounding like a machine gun was going off just with the. And I just chuckled, and it was just nothing but gushing love for this documentary. There's people there saying like I cried at the end of it. I used this to show my wife why I love George Romero or why I love Resident Evil, and she's crying, and there's like really beautiful stuff, like not just like little quotes, like fucking emails, like someone just wrote a whole fucking diary entry. So that made me feel really good, and I started chuckling to myself, and I'm like, literally the people that like don't have jobs or like lives, like they watched it during the weekday, and then the people that couldn't watch it because they work all week finally got home and watched it on the weekend. I was like, what the fuck? So that was like what kind of kept my sanity.
Some people are just absolutely deplorable though, and they just like to tear everything down.
Well, it's the crabs in a bucket mentality.
Yeah,
you know, like when someone actually has like a valid criticism about something, I'll listen to it. And again, like there were people saying like I absolutely really did not enjoy that audio only portion. It's like, me too. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, there were things where people would say like, hey, I really found it boring at the beginning because I'm learning all this shit about Resident Evil that I already knew. And I'm like, okay, but realize that there's people that are coming into it from the George Romero side.
That was me.
Same.
So yeah, I didn't know any about Resident Evil.
And it was vice versa. It's like there were a couple people who are like, I know everything about George Romero, and I don't understand why you're covering his career. And it's like, well, there's people that played the video game that only know the name. Maybe they saw a movie, but they're not going to understand why was George Romero that important to be attached to the Resident Evil movie beyond just the fact that it's Night of the Living Dead. And so we really did, like, we already knew, like, some people were just not going to like the fact that it's a 2-hour documentary. There was shit that we had lined up, like information and interviews that fell through after we started filming. And
I was going to ask you that. Was there any Hail Marys you tried to get and they just didn't work out? Or maybe they did agree and then they fell through? Or did you get some crickets?
We sent out 50 emails. I want to say about 50 different interviews. There were some people lined up that fell through or disappeared or ghosted us or whatever. There was a few, like, I'm not going to name names because there are a few people that I think after the fact were kind of like, oh, damn, I wish I had actually done this. There were some people that were kind of connected to the Resident Evil media that were just like, you know, I don't know what I can contribute. And then they want to do an interview, or they knew George and were like, I don't know how to do this. You know, one of the interviews that I did get, which was from Peter Grunwald, but they're text only quotes. And it was just because I guess he did not feel comfortable being on camera. And he kind of said, like, I really don't want to be on camera. He's like, I was always behind the camera, you know, like on George's side, not in front. And I was like, you know what? You answer these questions in an email. That's good enough for me. So I worked with what I could. There was some stuff that it was like, damn, I lost these interviews, and I kind of felt like, well, I just got to keep moving on because I took people's money.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you going to do? Like, just
you gotta
lose everything?
You got to get to the finish line, and normal viewers are not going to really realize that. A lot of times, if you have a big movie, whoever the marquee actor is going to take all the heat because they don't even, they're that surface level where they're not even looking at the director, the writer. You know, it's just like, oh man, you made that movie. It fucking sucks. Like, dude, I acted in it. I took a paycheck. And did you try and throw like a Hail Mary for like a Nicotero or somebody? I would have. You had to have thrown like, hey, let's see what I can get.
There were some stuff that I had some decent sized names in there that just fell through. Oh
yeah.
Again, I don't want to get into it too much because it starts getting into like the business angle of things, and it's like I don't want to speak on people's behalf or assume anything. But we had quite a few. Like, I'll be honest, I even sent emails to Constantine Film, like, hey, Colzer, you want to be on camera and give your side? So when like people say, like, hey, this is too pro George Romero. Why didn't you get Constantine's side? It's like, I sent them fucking emails.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
like you're literally saying that the documentary is terrible because I didn't do this, and it's like, what do you want me to do? Put a gun to their fucking head? Like,
Yeah.
force
You
it?
got
Like,
what you could. Yeah.
yeah, it's, but at the same time, like going into it, it was always going to be pro George. The olive branch to get like the other side was just kind of like, well, I do want them to kind of give their side of things, because it really is one-sided, because it's always interviews with George, or people commenting on the fan side of like, oh well, they fucked over George. And so
the quote
I
was
wondered,
pretty blunt, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like the whole his script wasn't any good, so we fired him. So it's like, wow, down to, or I'm paraphrasing, but it's like pretty pretty to the point in business.
Yeah.
And when you're just hearing that as a George fan, it's like, ouch, those assholes. But business is business.
And you kind of find out, like from my understandings of all the research and the people I talked to and everything else, Capcom didn't have any involvement in the movie. So the quote that you're talking about, that is Okamoto. So he was the liaison. He was one of the executives at Capcom. He was dealing with Constantine Film. Constantine, from my understanding, fired George, and then just told Okamoto, like, yeah, his script was no good. He got fired. So when they asked him, hey, where's that?
Yeah,
he just repeated it back.
Yeah.
George, according to George, including some newer quotes that we find after the fact, that was like, oh, well, this is lovely to find, 2 years after we finished the documentary. He actually says, like, yeah, he felt that Constantine flew in the face of everything that Capcom wanted, because Capcom wanted George from the get-go. And he's like, and George had actually said, like, we were flabbergasted. Like Capcom was really excited. They loved what I was doing. And then next thing you know, Constantine's out there just saying,
it's too much like Dawn of the Dead. We don't want this. It's like, what? It's so ass backwards.
Now, I will say, because I've mentioned it here and there throughout the last few months, and that we are slowly, I went back out and actually film more material. We did even more research, got more interviews.
A redux.
So we're slowly getting plans together to do sort of like an expanded cut. I'm gonna fix
awesome.
I'm gonna fix the shit that was wrong with the documentary, and kind of go back. I was just given no time limit. They're like, well, whatever you want, 3 hours, 4 hours, we don't care. So I'm gonna be responsible with the length, but the idea is I want to go back and actually, with a lot of this new material we found, kind of give even more information, expand the areas regarding the screenplays, give you lots of information about the scripts, and actually kind of go through the versions and actually say, here's where George started, here's where George ended based on producer notes. One of the things we found out was Chris, in George's original treatment, which, by the way, exclusive, we didn't know that, and neither did the George A. Romero archives, they don't have everything.
Wow.
They thought they did.
Oh, no. What's he got?
We actually have an entire treatment that's 5 times as long as the one that they have.
Wow.
Nice.
That is the very original.
Very cool.
It was uncovered.
Wow.
I had to take a trip to the university here and actually deposit a lot of this stuff.
Wow.
But we were looking through it and I was like, wow, this is actually, it's still kind of the same idea, but there was some major changes in here. And one of the changes, at least George's original idea, was Chris had his original game background in the original treatment that he wrote. He was an Air Force veteran who was dishonorably discharged for going back and rescuing a downed pilot. It had all that.
Wow.
I was wondering why he changed the Chris narrative in the one that they're talking about in the documentary. I mean, I don't really think it made it any more cinematic to change his background and make Jill the love interest.
Some
Maybe
of
I'd have
this, if you were to read the McElroy script, which was the very first blueprint, then you read George Romero's, and then you read Paul W.S. Anderson's, you start finding common plot threads, and you start to figure out, okay, these must be exactly what the producers wanted. The stuff that's in common that isn't necessarily specifically from the game. You start to notice, like, there's going to be a house. There's going to be a lab.
It's gonna be evil.
There's going to be some sort of Black Ops military unit.
Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah, like, well, McElroy's script didn't even have Umbrella.
Did it not?
They didn't even have zombies in the script that I read. They were like mutant cannibals.
That sounds pretty cool, though. Is that not a zombie? Wait a second. That's kind of a zombie.
They talk. They have regeneration. Yeah, like some of them were cannibals. Some of them were like mad scientists. The zombie dogs were the size of elephants, and they like eat that. They actually eat the helicopter.
What the?
Yeah, I was telling someone about all this before, like going through like the first McElroy script, and I'm not going to beat him up because he was probably given lots of notes by the Constantine film. Remember, this is before zombie films got popular again, and you know, there's any number of possible scenarios on why shit was different. But I remember discussing like all these details from the script, and I literally had to say at the end in like capital letters, like, I understand if you don't believe me. This sounds like I'm fucking lying my ass off. I assure you, everything that I'm telling you is 100% in this script. So, because it just kept getting insane. I was like, oh yeah, and then Wesker mutates into the Tyrant, and then he fights Barry, who looks like a hunter but has Barry's head. And and they had this fight. I was like, and again, I assure you, this sounds like I'm full of shit. I assure you, this is all true. So you start to look at things like there's a love interest in each one. There's some sort of character who is not part of the group, who may or may not be the traitor, depending on which writer you have. But there's always a betrayal.
Yeah, the alien thing, the alien guy that's working for the company. Yeah,
and it's always like they're going down deeper rather than like the video games where it's kind of like expansive. You're going across, up, down, different areas. It's always start in a house, go down further to the bottom of the lab. In McElroy's script, Brad Vickers was an imposter named Mike who was coming to get his girlfriend Rebecca. So that kind of mirrors the Chris being the outsider in Romero's script, who goes in to rescue his girlfriend Jill. You have Matt Addison? But there's Matt, who pretends to be a cop in Anderson's script, who goes to the lab to get his sister. So you start to figure out like there's these certain plot threads. McElroy's script also has the African-American Barry Burton, which then George Romero picks up. He only played Chris's scenario, so he didn't really know much about Barry Burton, which is why in his script, Barry doesn't betray people. But you have a strong African-American character in each draft. The whole thing with like Chris not being part of the team, I think was just more so it's that idea of like having a common everyday man who can also, it isn't just like being like the audience perspective, but it's also like someone who isn't, it's sort of like at odds with everyone. It immediately creates conflict. And George was always like about conflict. How can you get the most conflict to kind of show different people's points of view? And it's not that I agree or disagree with what he did. I thought it was actually really cool when I first read it. It was a neat idea. I'm not saying it would be great now in 2025 with 30 years of lore, but back then when you're talking about there's only 2 games, it's not really
Yeah,
much
it
of a
wasn't built
franchise.
upon.
It just was a thing that he did with what little information was there. I seen someone that actually once commented that they hate George's script because they changed everything about the mansion, like all the backstory. And I was like, you realize none of that backstory really made it into the series until like 4 years after he wrote the script, right? Like it was early, like this discarded pieces of information that was only available in Japan. So
Paul Anderson's Mortal Kombat movies like that too, where the lore hadn't really been fleshed out at that point. Like literally, they're going off the manual of the first game, like Liu Kang, parents dead, Sub-Zero, enemy of Scorpion. He kind of all that shit came way later. So how much did Chris being Native American play into his actual character? Was it something arbitrary, or did it actually have, was his character, was it fleshed out as far, did it have a role?
I mean, it was just the idea that I had heard rumors that like the Native American thing was kind of pushed on George because he wasn't Native American in the treatment, but I heard like they wanted like some really crazy stuff. And like I had once heard that allegedly, and I have to say allegedly, I don't have any concrete proof. I'm not trying to claim Constantine one thing or another. I can only go off of like legit information, but allegedly George had received a note stating that they wanted Chris to have quote unquote magical powers.
Oh, that's what I was scared of. I'm like, is that where it's going? Does he do a rain dance somewhere in this movie? Like, what are they?
So based upon reading the different drafts, George's answer to take a bullshit note, he added the scene with the Eagles at the beginning of the script where he makes Chris into a conservationalist. He's an environmentalist, and he's like keeping track of wildlife in his area. So he like knows all these different, like this flock of eagles that returns every year. So he actually like catalogs them and is sort of like taking care of them. And that was his whole thing. It's like, well, see, there's eagles and they come down and eat the fish that he lets out. See, he has that was like I took that like knowing some of the, like the backstory and then knowing like the changes, like, well, that must have been his answer to it to say, like try and be like, well, I guess that's like magical powers because he didn't want to do it. So, but he wrote the best, the next best thing he could, while trying not to, he's trying not to get fired. So he's just appeasing, like, well, I guess we can have a scene where it's like very naturey. But a lot of the stuff really came down to like it was just making him very anti-military, and not just like anti-soldier, but it was this idea of like Chris's character by the last draft that Romero wrote is like he knows that like Wesker is up to no good. Like Wesker is coming off like, we need to protect the team, we need to save the world, we need to get this antivirus before it infects everyone. And Chris is already like, this dude is certifiably insane. He is putting all of you at risk, and he's literally lying to you. And like we're going down into this lab, and it's like got all this dangerous shit down here, and this is what our government does. And he's like, we have to stop this. We need to blow this place the fuck up. We need to do whatever we can to just bury it. And because he knows, like, as soon as it gets out of the labs, everything's just going to go. He's like, the whole world's going to get destroyed. So he's constantly at odds with Wesker. And there's like one part, it's not exactly true, but again, the internet was not really like that reliable. But I guess Romero was under the assumption that Native Americans were exempt from military service, which they aren't. You're not automatically exempted. You still have to do the draft. But I could understand like what he was trying to do, where Wesker is really impressed by Chris's like survival skills and observation skills, which is just Chris being like really good at his job, like very observant, being like someone who spends a lot of time in the wilderness. And I guess Wesker makes a quote like real impressed, like, "Oh, you must have been military," and he's like, "I'm Native American, exempted." Like just kind of like, and it constantly, like, he's constantly at odds with Wesker and like pissing him off. And I love the dynamic because, again, it's creating that conflict. Barry is like literally Barry in George's script, except for the fact that he's African American. But he has like the dad jokes. He has the really bad sense of humor. There's some really funny stuff in there. And I love the dynamics between the characters because George took every character and more or less gave them their personality. A lot of people don't realize that Chris was insubordinate in the original game. Like, he has like I don't listen to people. He kind of comes off of like the 80s action hero. It's, I don't listen to authority. I do whatever it takes to accomplish the mission. That's why he was kicked out of the Air Force. And George's script, he's insubordinate the entire time. He has that I'm not listening to authority attitude. I'm like, this is, other than the fact that he's not a STARS member, he has the entire personality down. It's like how I perceive Chris Redfield, being very anti-establishment.
Had George's film come to fruition, Riverman, who would Joe Pilato have played? Who is Joe Pilato in the George Romero film? I don't know.
I mean, Captain Wesker. I don't know.
Yeah. I want to see that version, man. I need to read the original one too. Because I don't like what we got. I never watched any Paul Anderson movie past the first one, man. I did not go.
The script is interesting that George wrote. It's very visual. Like, you can feel the claustrophobia that he's writing because George had said like he wanted it to feel like Day of the Dead. And when I read it, that's the feeling I got. I was like, man, you can really feel the tension that he wants in these scenes. I still love the scene on level B where they like watch this like grainy footage and it's a hunter like killing a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in this lab. It's just a couple of them. And one soldier looks up and he's like, I don't think the ceilings are safe. And then a door behind him like rips open and a zombie just immediately comes out, grabs him and starts eating him. And then there's like more just pouring in. And they have this entire sequence that feels straight out of like Dawn of the Dead or even Day of the Dead. It's just lots of zombies. They're struggling with them. Like, you feel danger. That's one of the things that it's not an action movie.
Alice is like a superhero. She's like a superhuman. Like, it wasn't.
This is not that. This is like a pure, like that old school George Romero where like you're on the edge of your seat because you don't even know if the characters are going to survive.
I thought the saddest thing about the whole ordeal when it happened, when suddenly George wasn't a part of the project anymore, was the fact that I felt if George could have been a part of that adaptation at the time, it could have maybe done great things for his career at a time when he really could have used it. Because, I mean, we're not treading new ground here when we talk about the plight of George Romero and the disrespect, and he doesn't get the credit he was due. But what if, man, what if he would have done the Resident Evil movie? Because Resident Evil was so hot, and if it obviously did well the way it turned out, but if he would have done it the way he did it, it just might have wrote a totally different story. And
that film rejuvenated zombie subgenre. Resident Evil, Paul Anderson's Resident Evil was what created the 500 other zombie films. And the thing that sucks about it, which Romero points out, Paul Anderson basically fucked George Romero because once he rejuvenated the zombie genre, everyone kept making zombies. Well, that was the one thing that George could rely on to always just, like he said, pay the bills. Like, someone wants a zombie movie, he could crank one out, no problem. But then, like, he started not being able to even get zombie films made.
Even Land of the Dead, I mean, the budget and everything like that, and being cut to shit and all that. Yeah.
Land of the Dead actually did good business, and I think it had really good life on the physical media. Because according to Peter Grunwald, Universal wanted Land of the Dead too, but
Yeah.
George was so disgusted with how the studio kind of ran things. He just said no thanks, and then that's when he decided to do Diary of the Dead. And I know a lot of people don't like Diary, they don't like Survival, but for me, like, I love them for different reasons. But
Diary's all right. Survival
I like
is-
Diary.
okay,
I don't.
so
yeah.
so here's the thing that I love about Survival of the Dead, and this is as a person who has admired George Romero as a person, not just like, oh, I love his zombie films. I joke with people like, oh, you're a fan of George Romero? Have you seen anything other than the zombie films? You know, it's like, what kind of fan are you of his? But his Survival of the Dead, he went out the way he started. This guy literally could have just been making studio films after Land of the Dead. And he just said, fuck it, and went back to being an indie filmmaker. His last film that he ever made was made with friends. He brought in all these people that he knew to be zombies. He got to go out and have fun. And he, according to Michael Felsher, that dude had so much fucking fun making Survival of the Dead. So for people that don't like it, it's like, yeah, but at the same time, he went out the way that he started making films, and he was really happy to do it. And I'd rather him have his last film be like that than for his last film to be like Land of the Dead, where he was just fucking miserable about it.
I feel like because I had always heard that Land of the Dead was essentially a part 1 of 2, and it feels like it. I feel like that's the biggest thing that hurts that movie is it feels like half a movie. It feels like we're just getting going when they're getting into Dead Reckoning and they're heading to Canada or wherever it is.
Mhm.
And if we would have had a part 2, I would probably look at it a little bit more fondly, because I feel like there's almost a good movie there.
It's one of those where, like, depending on when you last watched it, it grows on you with time. I love Land of the Dead. I think there's some stuff in there that's due to studio meddling that I don't like.
I don't like the casting for Land of the Dead.
A lot of the casting was due to the fact that because it was shot in Canada,
yeah,
most of the cast had to be from Canada.
Yeah.
So like, and I had actually confirmed it with someone that Riley, the main character,
Sean Baker,
yeah,
Simon Baker, sorry,
was originally supposed to be African American, because I asked like one of the guys that like studies all of George's works. I was like, I'm pretty sure I read a review like ages ago, like 2 years before they made Land of the Dead, when someone had leaked a copy. I was like, I was pretty sure they described Riley as African American. And he's like, yeah, that was literally. And I was like, so Big Daddy wasn't African American, so that was George's way of getting back and saying, well, if I can't have the human be African American, I'm going to make the head zombie African American. That's how you get Eugene Clark as Big Daddy. Yeah. And I don't think he was necessarily disappointed with the casting, but I think he may have been a little bit disappointed with the fact that he couldn't have just a little bit more say in like who he wanted. But Land of the Dead was just kind of, I really love it, but the whole process was just fucked. He had this like really big script idea that he finished up where it was like, I think the very first sequence was like some sort of aircraft and like zombies. I think like the passengers become zombies on it, and then it crashes into a building. He submitted that draft a week before 9/11. And then it was like, you know, as soon as that happened, they're like, nope, start over. And
I know you don't like Land of the Dead, River. I don't hate it. Like I said, there's things about it I like. I don't think Simon Baker worked because he's supposed to represent this guy on the lower end of that class system, and he's that good. He looks like he jumped out of a soap opera. I'm like, I'm sorry, we know he's gonna be living in the tower in real life. Come on, a guy like that's gonna have a sugar mama, a rich something. He's gonna get by on those looks.
In the original zombie films, I mean, they were more character driven, so you grew to love the characters, and I couldn't relate to the characters in Land of the Dead, so that's what really killed it for me. But I'm not saying it's all bad. It's just not one that I love when it comes to the zombie genre.
Yeah,
I mean,
George has always had the unfortunate luck that a lot of his films really don't click with people until long after.
Yeah.
Night Riders.
I love that,
it's only recently had a resurgence over the last 5 years, and now people are like, Knight Rider's such a great movie. And what else? What Day of the Dead?
Yeah.
Day of the Dead was not well liked. I know because I love Day of the Dead. I saw it in like around 2000, and you'd like get on message boards, and there'd be people there saying Day of the Dead sucks. You can't like Day of the Dead because it sucks. And then it was like 2005, 6, 7, around that time frame, where you started to see the shift where people like, I think it came out on like DVD or something, like a really nice DVD version. And then suddenly people were reevaluating it. And Land of the Dead is starting to get like that now, where now people are kind of going back for its 20th anniversary.
Yeah, it's retro now. I mean,
yeah.
but
it's something where sometimes whenever it's made, it just doesn't click right. And then you end up going back long after the fact, and you kind of get to see it in a different light. And I'm really hoping that Diary of the Dead, Diary's starting to come around too, because of the whole, like one of the things he got beat up before was this idea that the main character is constantly filming, even when the most horrific shit imaginable is happening. And people are saying it's so unrealistic. No one would be just standing there filming it. And then it's like you can literally go on social media and watch people doing the very exact thing. And it's like they've said before, like he can be very he can be like a prophet. Like he just really was on that pulse of like the nasty side of humanity. And it's like he could kind of predict where we were going as people. So it's something that, even with Survival of the Dead, it really just comes down to the same argument he's made for decades, which is you're going to have people that each have a different point of view on how to solve the problem. And they're not going to get along. And then they're going to be so righteous about what they feel is the right answer that they're willing to kill each other over it. It doesn't
neighbor
matter.
versus neighbor. It's like it is kind of now, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So it's something that, I think in the years to come, even Survival will probably get a reevaluation where it'll be like, yeah, it's kind of like this, what I want to say, like a flawed classic. It's not Dawn of the Dead, but I think the point that George was always trying to make is he's not going to just keep making Dawn of the Dead after Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. Each film he makes is always going to be its own unique thing, and you should only view it within the context of the film itself, not try and compare it to what came before or after.
I'm not sure Knight Riders is ever going to age with me because it's always going to be too long.
I think
it's just I just think it's too long. That's Knight Rider's problem. It's just
it has this unfortunate thing where, like, I love Knight Riders is my favorite George Romero film. I feel it's
your favorite. Wow,
that's awesome.
Because it has a lot of meaning to him. It has a really good cast and story. I love horror, but at the same time, I'm not going to knock Knight Riders. That is a very well made film, and it's
Tom Savini's best acting, by the way.
But it had this really weird situation where it made more sense to end it when Tom Savini comes back into the fold. It was like, okay, this feels like it's ending. They're all getting back together. It's a happy ending. It's like it could end here. But then you think about it and be like, isn't there supposed to be fucking jousting in this movie? So then they had to have like a whole other tournament, and it almost felt like there was like a fifth act in the film that just kept going on, and it was all about the tournament and who's going to become king. And that's what makes it feel super long, because I even checked the runtime. I was like, because I wanted to get to bed. I was like, oh, the movie's almost over. And I'm checking the time. And I'm like, dear God, there's another like 30 minutes left on this film. I was like, what the fuck else could they possibly deal with? He just came back. This should be like over in 5 minutes. But at the same time, like, how else can you really end the film? Because it feels so lackluster, I think, if it just ended that way, if you didn't have that other big tournament. So it was kind of screwed either way. Like, either it wouldn't feel as satisfying, or it was going to be way too long.
I'm glad that's getting a resurgence. I'm also glad Bruiser's getting a resurgence because I love
Bruiser's
Bruiser as
good.
well.
I like Bruiser.
It's a lot of fun.
Bruiser to me feels like almost like George dealing with Hollywood for 10 years and coming right out of like losing Resident Evil, because it was a very that to me was a very like angry film where it was like about a guy getting revenge against like the people that screwed him over, especially for his job. And I was like, man, this just feels like this is like a murder revenge fantasy for Romero to be like, I'm
and
gonna
sleazy
kill.
elements was great too. I mean, he doesn't do that often. So,
unlike your opinions on Land too, Bruiser's got a great cast. I think everybody in Bruiser's really, really great, and they're really cast well. Brandon,
if you keep talking about Bruiser, I think you're going to make Matt Blasi very happy, because that was that film means so much to him, and he says all the time, Bruiser does not get enough love.
It's great. So. The indicator release they put out, thank God somebody put out a great release of that here stateside. It's fantastic. So check out Bruiser, man. I think for the longest time it was kind of hard to, it was hard to find on TV, and the VHS wasn't easy to come by, and it took a long time for me to watch it. I didn't watch it as early as I probably could have. But it's a lot of fun, man. Really, really, really great cast. I want to ask you, Brandon, one last little 2-part question before I, end with, I want to know what you're doing now. First part, did you get a chance to meet George Romero, and what was your opinions if you did? And 2, did I say A and 2? Whatever. Did you meet Tom Savini? Same question.
I unfortunately never got to meet George Romero. I had an opportunity to, forget when, and I remember something came up, and I just said, I'll see him next time.
Oh, it's the Homer Simpson Mr. T thing.
Like me.
That was like 2026 or not, or 2016. And then literally it was like, I don't know, 8-9 months later, he passed away.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I mean, I was devastated, because I'm like, well, there that goes. But I've become friends with, like, legitimate friends with some of his friends and people that he's worked with. And
cool.
They kind of tell me stories about him and tell me about his personality, and you get to see like a lot of like George Romero and like some of the people he worked with. Very, very like-minded, very similar personalities, and you kind of get that piece of him, like a piece of his spirit. As for Tom, I've actually met Tom many a times.
What have your experience has been like? I'm very curious.
He can be very guarded. And
that's
I think
one way of putting it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna like trash the guy. It's just like, from my understandings, is he is so used to having so many fucking people come up to him and want something from him that I think it takes him some time to like warm up to you. One of the last times I actually saw him, because I always had this like very awkward interaction with them. And it was kind of like, like when two people are trying to like pass each other, and they like, like it's one of those where you can't synchronize right to get through the same doorway. Like, that's how I felt like anytime I met Tom Savini, and I wasn't sure. I was like, am I the asshole? And then I had heard like, yeah, he has like, if he doesn't know who you are, he can kind of come across like very guarded. But the last time that I saw him, he was like really cool with me. He came up, he saw my my George Romero scarf, which it's not an original. A friend of mine actually made it for me, and it was a gift. But he immediately saw it in the room and walked up, and he actually had to actually check. Like, he's like, that's not actually George's scarf, is it? I was like, no, someone made it for me. But he was like playing with it. He's like, this is really well made. And I was like, I know. It's like, I love this thing. It's like a little piece of George Romero, to have kind of like a carbon copy of his lucky scarf. Because if you know enough about George Romero, in his like middle era, he's always wearing the thing. You can see him wearing it in Dawn of the Dead when he's in like the control board room at the news station. George plays a zombie in Day of the Dead, he's not in any makeup. You only see him from like the waist down. He's like pushing a cart, and you'll see the scarf tied around like his side. It's just hanging down, and that's how you know it's George. But yeah, it was Tom was really cool. He always has really good stories. He's very intelligent. He's very sharp, very creative, and it's really neat to see him when he gets like super hyper focused on something. Like he was like really excited a few years ago for like the Night Riders anniversary, because they had actually found like his original suit, his original shield. And yeah, he actually had those items there at in Pittsburgh at Living Dead weekend. And it was really good. Like I actually enjoy anytime I see Tom. And again, it's just like that awkward interaction where like if you're trying to talk to him, sometimes he doesn't know like what your intentions are. But he's usually like really good. If you're just coming up, getting an autograph, you want to talk to him, you know. I can only imagine what it's like, you know, having been in the business for like what, almost 50 years. Like how many times were you asked the exact same question? So I think a lot of times it'd be awkward for me because I don't know what the fuck to talk to him about. Because it's like anything I ask you or say, you probably heard 1,000 times before, and it's got to be boring as shit, you know? But no, he's really cool. He honestly is like a super cool person.
I've definitely seen interviews and stuff like that, interactions with him where he seems like he's a really nice guy. So I'm pretty sure it's truth to that. But he also I like to ask the question because I know it's controversial because people have bad days, but you see a lot of bad days with certain people. I'm like, oh, what is it? Because clearly he's cool. But now my only thing on that is, and I'm not going to get into our experience. We've only had the one real experience with him, like really interacting with him. And I get what you're saying, but when you're at a fan convention, like, what do you think people want from you? They want to talk to you and get autograph and stuff like that. And let's just say maybe he had a really bad day with us, but it was not a cool interaction. It's like we were literally going up to his table, for crying out loud. Like,
there was like a whole thing like a few years ago where he was supposed to be at Living Dead weekend, and then he got hit by a car. It was like riding his bicycle.
Yeah.
So they like canceled him. Well, he ends up coming in for like one day, and I think it was like 6 hours. And he was actually, I want to say, a little bit grumpy. And I'm thinking like, well, this dude got hit by a fucking car.
Maybe got hit by a car that weekend too in Kansas City.
You know, there were people that I think were a little bit disappointed. I'm like, you know, this guy is probably in a lot of fucking pain. You know,
he's got to be in late 60s at the time, I'm sure. And probably
no, he was in his 70s.
Okay.
He's in his late 70s now. I think he was like, I don't know, 75 when he got hit by a car. You know, so you think about that, like that dude walked away from getting hit by a car, and then he decides to come in while he's still recovering and in pain. And he's sitting there for 6 fucking hours, and the line is like, I don't know, 900 people long. And it's just constantly like coming up like, I love what you did on Dawn of the Dead. I love Friday the 13th. And it's like, you know, I can only imagine.
That's a fan convention. Like, I think you have to have a filter for that. Like, look, I'm going to get asked. I'm here. It's a fan. I don't know. Like, I'm not as forgiving for that because it's like, look, what are you signing up for? But he was having a good weekend that weekend. He had 2 ladies around his arm. We were in his bedroom. Literally, he was having a good weekend. And it just felt like, I hate to be this guy, but we weren't attractive women. He wasn't having it. I'm just saying he was plenty happy, you know, outside the bubble. But
no, I like honestly, like I've always enjoyed like his company. Like, and I think it was my first interaction with him was actually that time where he after he got hit by a car. So I was just like, oh well, this is kind of weird, but at the same time, I think he's in a lot of pain. You know, but no, I've always liked him, and it's kind of neat because he was sort of like the headliner. Like everyone at that convention was lined up to see him, and that's how
he's the guy. I mean, I would love to have a great interaction with him, just because you know it was just one of those. It was a little like, oh man, you know, especially dude, when I met Riverman here, he wanted to go to his school when we first met. He's like, I want to get into effects. I want to go to his school. So I kind of felt bad for you. you took it on the chin and you're like, whatever, it's funny. But I'm like, man, that would crush me. Like I felt bad for my friend.
It would crush me if it was Romero. I mean, Tom Savini, it's different.
I did get to meet Romero.
I'm not going to try and do the impersonation. I got to meet Brian Stewart, who used to be the webmaster for George. For the George A. Romero website. And he also he works, he's done a lot of really cool stuff. Like this dude has like a laundry list of really cool shit that he's done. Like he works with Delirium magazine and stuff. But he was telling me like his stories of dealing with Tom Savini. And he's like, I've literally been to Tom Savini's house and Tom still does not remember me. Like he actually I guess stopped him one time and was like, Tom, don't you remember me? And he's just like, no. Just like, and he was like, and he's like, I've literally been to this guy has literally had me over at his house and he still doesn't remember. He's like, it's just how he is. He meets so many people. But I thought Brian was telling me like all these stories like at Living Dead Weekend. We're just laughing because he does really good impersonations of like all the different like people that surrounded George just because he's been around him for so long. But they were really good stories, like very like you're just sitting there like having a good time laughing.
I did get to meet
pretty
George.
Smart on his part, though, because I mean, he gets people to talk about Tom, regardless if they have good or bad experiences. People are still talking about him, so get his name out there.
Dude, he's still the GOAT. It doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, I don't let that stuff phase my. No, he's still the guy.
Yeah.
I met George the year that you missed out on him, unfortunately, 2016, and I went for Riverman here. I wanted to get him an autograph because he came. I live in Phoenix area, so he was like at a convention in Scottsdale, Mad Monster at the time. Anyway, and I got to meet him, and I felt like I was cheating on somebody because I felt like, I'm happy I get to meet him, but I feel like I'm cheating Todd because he's the guy that introduced me to him, and he never got to meet him. But yeah, man, I have some pictures. I'm really glad I got to have the interaction. He was in a very good way. I kind of felt bad for him. Like you feel like he was suffering a bit. You could tell. And he needed a lot of help, but he was super sweet, super nice. But it was kind of I'm like, man, he couldn't really have like a serious conversation or really talk. And it was a bummer, man. It was a bummer to see him obviously in pain. And he died, like you said, shortly after that, but that was a good memory. I'm really happy I got to meet him. And unfortunately for Riverman, the autograph I got him got water damaged on the way, and so his memento is like it's still on his shelf over there somewhere, but it's like the autograph is smeared. And
that's why like even if I have a bad interaction with someone, it's like, man, at least I got to meet him. It's like I would have rather have had George Romero call me a piece of shit, and at least have it's a great story. That I would rather have that memory than to just have the regret of knowing like I never got to meet him, because there was a lot of regret and guilt of like I should have just fucking went. Who cares if I went in debt? It's like I should have just done it. And like I said, I've never really had a bad experience with Tom Savini. I just have awkward, it's like personalities can't figure out like how to talk. Like I have that with a lot of people. Like I have a certain way of like trying to talk to people, and sometimes I like run into people where it's like we just cannot talk in a way where we're like actually connecting and being.
Some people are oil and water. It just happens. Now I do share in your regret a little bit though, because I do regret. I'm not a big autograph guy. I just I appreciate people that do it and make income. I appreciate people that love to support people. For me, I just felt I don't see the value in it for me personally. Like I like to meet people. That's all cool. Like I know I was there. I don't need to. Anyway, I regret not because he was selling replica scripts that he was signing, obviously not real. And I remember leaving the parking lot just to leave because I got your thing, Todd. And I'm like, should I go back in there? Because I kind of regret it. I mean, I think they were kind of pricey, but like, I'm gonna regret this. And I didn't go back in it. And sure enough, I regretted it. I know you can get them online, but I wanted the one that he signed. I'm like, I kind of regret it that I don't have anything signed by him.
Like, I don't want to. Like, I try and get everything I possibly
Nice.
can.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
just, like I
That's
am
awesome.
and this is all just from the last few years. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm literally almost at like my whole room is almost completely full.
Well,
But
because of
I just don't want that regret because you know, a lot of them are getting up there in age, and I'm like, I can't
exactly.
pass this up. I cannot pass this
As a
up.
result of Romero passing away after that, right after, I'm still not huge into it, but since then I've gotten a few. I have a handful of ones, and you know, like even got like Lance Henriksen. We went to a Mad Monster, and it's like, dude, I love Lance Henriksen. I'm gonna talk to Lance Henriksen. I'm gonna get in. I'm glad I have him.
So bad.
He
Great
is so
guy.
cool, man. He's
Yeah.
one of the best, and he's one of the best guys that you can talk to at a convention because that guy really, he's not even faking it. He's happy to be there. He's happy to be talking to you, and he literally will tell you a million. He'll kind of go on and on like your grandpa talking about stories.
Yep.
Like he'll give you way more than you bargained for. Super nice guy. It's like, dude, yeah, like I'll take another one. I think I literally bought 2 things. It's like, dude, you're give me another one. I want to know the story.
I mean, honestly, that's one of the reasons why I love Living Dead Weekend because a lot of times, like a lot of the guests, they'll be like outside of the hotel in like the courtyard, and we're just all chilling, and you get like you start getting like a lot of these like really cool stories that they don't put in the documentaries.
That's
it's like, oh, I remember that time I don't know.
That's all I want. Yeah.
We got to go to Living.
Yeah,
we got to go, man, because that's the way conventions used to be before they got a little too big for their britches. You know, like somewhere in the middle of the Walking Dead thing, they got real mainstream, and a lot of them got big.
They have one in October.
Yeah, it's like I miss the days of hanging out in the parking lot and Fred the Hammer making fun of me.
I remember that.
Like, you know, we've got good experiences, we got bad experiences.
Yeah.
Someone like Fred the Hammer. Oh, do you got Fred the Hammer's autograph?
No. Because being Resident Evil, you get to. I know, like Alpha Romero wanted to see like all my cool shit at some point, but I figured obviously this made the rounds for a while.
Sweet, dude.
This is it's from the Resident Evil 2 commercial that George.
Oh, yeah, that's where. Okay, cool. Which for the longest time, that commercial that was it's been on YouTube a while.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would watch that, like, man, this should have been the movie. But then I'm like, it's kind of the Return to Raccoon City movie. Maybe it wouldn't have worked as a movie, but as a commercial, dude, that sells you on that dang
and of
game.
Course, back there's the John Wrightson maquette of the Tyrant. That's based on his father's artwork.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Oh.
And you can kind of see it like between like the typewriter and then like the George stuff, like just how tall this thing is. Like
it's huge. Yeah,
it's very, very huge. You also get to see some of the cool props there. Got the crest from the game, the ink ribbons. There's a green herb right behind.
Oh, is that what that's supposed to be?
Yeah. So,
no, that's cool, man. Well, I wish I wish I could go to
the whole collection. So
I wish I need to like get an Alexa or something and put the save room music in my bedroom when I'm going to bed, because I could just, I want that played at like a spa. Can I just have the way, well, hey man, you've been super generous with your time. Let's wrap up, but go ahead. What are you doing now? What's the next project? What has this documentary led to? That's what I'm really excited about.
Okay. So last year I helped use a portion of the profits from the documentary to actually fund the cinematographer's new movie that he wrote and directed. And then I actually helped out with some special effects on. The film is called Whistle to the Maples. It literally just got finished editing last week. And that stars Charlie Kraslovsky, who is Chris Redfield in the original Resident Evil game, the guy that says, no, don't go. That dude. So he has a starring role in it. It also has Jim Crut from Dawn of the Dead. It's like a rustic folk horror film. Really neat. There's a trailer out there somewhere for it. It is a feature-length remake of a 15-minute short film that the cinematographer Tom Robinall shot like 5 years ago. So he always wanted to make it in a feature, so I helped him make that a reality. So now we're into like, okay, let's go find a home for it. For me personally, the documentary actually led to me connecting with the creator of the video game Faith, the Unholy Trinity. It's a trilogy of like retro 8-bit style horror games.
Awesome.
And I got the rights to it last year. So now we are developing it. It has George Demick, who was apprentice on Knight Riders for George Romero. He's one of like Romero's friends. He's involved. It has Steve Barton from Terrifier 2 executive producing. And I brought back a lot of the people that helped work on the documentary. And it also has a few others. Like it's really neat team. Like I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but we're very excited. We just finished another draft 2 days ago. So everything's been going well with the creator. The creator is involved, and we got some meetings coming up. We got people that want to give us funding because they're looking at it as like this next big horror video game adaptation. So I am in the hot seat adapting a horror video game. So I guess I'm going to have to show people whether is it going to be another Paul Anderson style, result?
Return to Raccoon City.
So this is my opportunity and this is something where I was already a fan of the video game.
Okay.
So I really loved the video game. I loved everything about it and said, I want to make this into a film. So
Comes full circle right here.
Full circle. So this is my opportunity to take a video game that I love and turn it into a feature film. And we're going to see where it goes from there.
Where can people follow that?
You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Mr. Midnight Owl. You can follow me on Facebook. My name is right there. Just look for like a black and white photo of like my mug. I have a very artsy, very well done profile pic. Those are the best 2 ways to try and find me. But yeah, I don't like talking about myself too much.
Hey, same.
Like making posts. Like I see other people that are always like, hey, look at this like really minor minor thing that has no bearing on anything. But look at me. Like basically I never take a lot of photographs and I rarely do posts about shit that's in development. So I'm hoping I will eventually have something this year where I can actually say like, look, it's happening, because I don't like to constantly keep making I just finished the 10th draft, and like show a cover page, do that kind of shit. It's like,
I wonder if you're like me though, because I feel like I'm the same way, man. But then you see other people, it's like, man, I kind of need to not have that mentality, because some of these people are really doing exactly what you're saying. They're keeping themselves out there. They're pumping out their stuff, and they're keeping the project in the atmosphere, in the ether. And but I'm the same way, man. I feel like I should talk more.
I've had people that have come to me, a few people that I've worked with, and they actually said that they actually do appreciate the fact that they're like, you don't post a lot, but when you post, it's important. Like when you have something to say, it actually means something. It's not like, well, here's my 9th post today. So it's like, okay, well, I see both sides of it. So I've always tried to decide whether an update is actually worthy of a public post, or if I should wait till the next thing. I rarely let people know. There's people that'll ask me like, so what's going on with the movie? You haven't talked about it in months. And it's like, well, I'm still writing. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to keep writing until the writing's done. And then I'm hopefully going to have money. We'll have a boatload of money, and then you'll be hearing about the casting. It's like, I'm not gonna let you know about like what draft I'm on. It gets boring after a while.
I agree.
Speaking of the movie, where can they find that? To the George A. Romero's Resident Evil documentary.
It's current. It is available in North America only right now. There's a Blu-ray in Europe. you can actually find it for free on YouTube on the Flicks for Free channel. That's ran by the North American distributor. And Residents of Evil has something coming up where it'll be available elsewhere. Europe is run by another distributor. They have a Blu-ray that people in Europe can buy, and they have like other releases planned.
Okay.
Like basically, I get a lot of questions from people, that are like looking for it, or they'll say like, "Hey, it's not available right now in my region," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I made the movie. I sold it, so it's always up to someone else to." It's like, here, go bother this distributor and ask them, because I don't get updates a lot of the times. Like I sold it. It's out there.
Yep.
So that, but I mean, it is my first project. So I have to be, I'm very, very lucky that
you're winning, dude.
Like the very first thing that I ever made got distribution.
And you made a profit. You turned a profit, it sounds like.
Made a profit.
Dude, congrats.
It was on the front cover of Rue Morgue.
Hell yeah.
It was on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
It was covered by Fangoria, Bloody Disgusting. I did an entire interview with Deadline.
Yep.
Like
I read that one, yeah.
I'm nominated for a Fangoria award.
Oh, my bad.
Which I did vote for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody go out and vote for that. When's the deadline? Did that already pass the voting deadline?
It passed on the 20th.
Okay, so we just missed it.
So now we just got to wait until October to find out, who won for that category. But still,
man, you're winning.
My first project, again, like I know at the beginning, like I sounded like really beat down, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about the documentary, but a lot of people really loved the documentary for what its central message was, and I think it was that hardcore indie spirit. And I did joke with a lot of people that I really cursed myself for telling people I really wanted to make a George Romero style film, and that's what I got.
Mm-hmm.
I got the George Romero film where you don't have enough money, stuff falls through.
Yep.
It's like one thing after another. And I was like, oh my God, I know what George Romero was feeling like a lot of the times, like trying to get some of these projects made. And so I joke about that, saying like, oh, I cursed myself. If you ever get a chance to go back and look at the doc, there is a shot, it's right when we revealed the mansion, like the first few minutes. Mm-hmm. You're going to see the shot. It's this really beautiful shot where it like starts low on the ground. It's very evocative of the original game. It's like a soldier's boot comes into the shot, and then it tilts up, and it's like straight out of the video game. You'll see like what looks like snowflakes. And I've heard people say like, wow, that's a really good shot. I love the atmosphere of that. And it's like, yeah. We literally got those shots right before a blizzard hit us and buried us in 2 feet of snow.
Nice.
So,
hey, it's the desert road.
It works out.
You got something out of it.
Like again, it's just that constantly under pressure.
And for the people in the back, I'll end it with this. Even if the documentary is great and what you accomplished is great, even if it was the biggest piece of crap and it didn't get seen anywhere, it didn't get sold anywhere. Mm-hmm. If you see a project to the finish line, you're already winning, because statistically, most filmmakers don't even get that far.
No.
And so check it out. And anybody that is one of those people that just likes to, armchair quarterback hate on stuff without any like real merit or criticism, you can't take that stuff seriously.
No, I don't.
Because it's just, you have to film fanatics know, like I said, you can watch anything and see, okay, I know what their intent was. Shit probably happened here with the money. They had to fix this in the editing room. I can tell something happened there. But I think people that are passionate just about Romero are understanding of those things too. And but yeah, man, you're winning. It's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm actually blown away. It's your first thing. That's
That's awesome.
Little green with envy. That's awesome. I mean, because that doesn't happen. That's insane.
I did an interview with a guy that had done a film like 12 years ago, and he was really impressed with the documentary. He's like, I want to know your entire film history. Start from the beginning. Like, what was your first film? And
you watched it.
So I told him, like, this is my first thing he's like, this is your first film? I'm like, no, this is the first thing I've ever shot. Like, I didn't even make home movies. And he was flabbergasted. He just said, like, listen, from the bottom of my heart, I'm semi-joking, but I'm also serious. But in all honesty, fuck you.
Fuck you. I knew it was coming.
Fuck you. He's like, I worked for 15 years to get to where I am now, and you just did it all in like 1 year. I was like, sorry.
And it's also a testament to, none of us here are like right out of college spring chickens. People have this thing weighing on them like the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
And you said it earlier, like a young man's game. Filmmaking is not a young man's game.
Yeah.
If maybe sometimes money can buy your way in to cut the line a little bit sometimes.
I can tell you that this project got made because I was older and more mature and more responsible to actually see it through. Had I tried to make this when I was 19 or 20, I would not have the mental fortitude to see it through, when considering it took 5 years to get it across the finish line. Most people, when they're younger, don't have 5 years, whereas all I had was time. So that's always the advice I would tell anyone, is no matter what you're doing, whether you're writing, if you're going to be a director, if you're going to be a YouTuber, just go out and fucking do it.
Yep.
Don't worry about what people say.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep grinding away until you get to that success. Because had I not decided that one time where I just said, you know what, I'm going to try one more time at 35 years old, just saying, I'm going to give it one more chance, and decide to go out and make this. Look where I am now. And I'm looking back and I'm like, damn, I was really silly for thinking I couldn't get this made, because I feel like I can make anything now.
Yeah.
And I'm where I want to be.
It's all time, place, circumstance. And like you were just alluding to with your last story, you graduated in 15 years worth. Like you got so far because the timing was right, your mentality was right. And if you're somebody that writes creative narrative pieces, your stories are only going to get better the older you are, the more mature you are. Your characters are going to get better, your real life experiences are going to show through. And I always think about guys like Werner Herzog. He worked on sets and stuff, but he was kind of old when he directed his first movie,
and I will say, because I know you want to end this, but one last piece of advice. I used to have a really tough time writing, and I could not finish anything. And I started small, and I learned screenwriting, and I would do 5-page stories, 10-page, and I would build myself up. The other month, I crushed an entire script, crushed a feature-length script, 2 short films, and 6 outlines, all within a week of just
wow.
I just took an entire, it was probably more like a week and a half, but I just crushed it and did a first draft of everything. That would have been impossible for me 10 years ago. But you start building up that muscle, and being able to exercise it, you will get there. It's just, everyone needs to have patience. And sometimes it's not about yes or no, it's about not yet. So if you always feel like shit ain't working out, keep working at it. It just means now is not the time, but maybe next year, maybe a few more years. I feel like now with my confidence, I don't care if I don't break into the industry until I'm 60. I'm going to keep making movies. I'm never giving up now.
Absolutely.
Hey, I think most look, I am one of these guys that doesn't love everything George Romero did. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because he made Dawn of the Dead. You know how many filmmakers would give their left testicle to say, I made a movie as perfect as Dawn of the Dead? He could write on that forever. And so you could make that at 60, you can make that at 80. It doesn't matter.
Until I'm fucking 90.
Hey, well, Yeah. It is a muscle, and I'll say, yeah, you got to appreciate and acknowledge when it's striking and take advantage. But you know what? You got to push through it when you're not feeling it, because it is a muscle you got to flex. And when it comes to writing, you just got to see it through. Just spill the shit on the page, whatever it is, even if it's dog shit. And another thing, I don't know if you can relate to me. You got to learn to know which part of your voice in your inner monologue to shut up, to listen to in silence, because I could literally wake up in the middle of the night and just have an inkling, like, I got to fucking write this down. And I could literally get no sleep. I sacrifice all night long because I got to spill this out. I'm feeling it, baby. And the next day I'll spend the whole day convincing myself it's shit. Now, sometimes it doesn't work. You work on it a little bit and you got to know when to move on. But then a lot of times, man, like, I'm going to tell myself something is shit if I sit on it for 24 hours, no matter what it is. And you got to learn to ignore it. And sometimes just go with your gut and just finish it. Just finish that draft, finish that treatment, finish that outline. Because I think.
I do. This connects to someone that had worked with George Romero. One of the zombies from Dawn of the Dead actually created a website that was all about screenwriting. And it was one of the very first websites I ever used. Unfortunately, I also never got to meet him and thank him for that website, but I did meet his daughter online, who I got to express, like, this website really helped me when I first got into filmmaking, and I really appreciate all the work that he put into that website. But he always used a term that he described the first draft as vomit words on the page. And I've always used it since. So it's not original to me. It came from someone else. But the first draft, I vomit words on the page. Get it from page 1 to the end of the story. And then I like to do the Stephen King technique. You chuck it in a drawer for like 2 weeks and then just don't look at it. Go write something else and then come back to it and then look where the problems are. But like you said, just get to the finish line. Because if you're like overthinking everything, you're never going to finish it. And it's like that with any process with filmmaking and writing, is you just have to get out there, get it done, and then assess what you have.
Yeah, 100%. On that note, man, dude, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
It's been a
thanks,
blast
Brandon.
talking.
Yeah, thank you.
If you could, I'm going to ask you stay in the little lobby so your video uploads, because I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. But yeah, man, everybody go check out the documentary. Now that we know that this guy fucking got the golden ticket, dude, he struck it out of the park on the first go. Be inspired, and check it out. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. If you guys are new, because of what we're talking about here, and you're a fan of Resident Evil, you're a fan of George Romero, you're gonna like a lot of the stuff that we talk about. So help us out. That's it, man. Hopefully we can talk again, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Big thanks to our awesome members for keeping Revival House alive, and to all the subscribers hanging out with us. You're the best. If you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We've got thousands of hours of content and cover a wide variety of horror films, so there's always something new and creepy coming your way. We'll catch you next time for more spooky fun. Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are. You'll never grow old, and you'll never die, but you must feed.